Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Mark Pyre's Renaissance Man.
Okay, people, gather around. The Mark Pyre's Renaissance Man show. Is he still alive? Wait, hold on, I'm not done. Trying to get to the bottom of this. Number 2. Is he still alive?
He is Dr. Evil.
Why is he still alive, and why did you answer when I was asking number 2? I'm trying to get to the bottom of this. Number 2!
A plan is in the works, Dr. Evil.
This is wonderful news, number 2. Over 1,000 days in a row, we've managed to keep the world from knowing he exists.
Dr. Evil, he's still going and doesn't care.
Well, we need to find another way to stop the show. He's making me look bad, you know? Yeah, no. Perhaps we can make him look like racist or something?
That may work, Dr. Evil.
Perhaps we can get the media to cancel him?
This is your best idea yet, Dr. Evil.
Okay, number 2. Get me Dr. Fauci.
Dr. Evil. Dr. Fauci is on the evil monitor.
Thank you, number 2. Dr. Fauci.
Dr. Evil. It's Dr. Fauci.
Well, Dr. Fauci. It looks like the gig is up. The Renaissance Man show knows all about you.
Yeah, look, they created a character after me. We gotta squash him like the friggin' mouse that he is. He calls me a weasel, Fauci. I'm not a weasel, okay? I'm not a doctor. I'm Dr. Fauci, okay? Don't call me Dr. Weasel Fauci, okay? Because that's anecdotal.
Anecdotal Fauci. That's what they're always making fun of you about. That you're always anecdotal.
No, I know. It's like I said, everything's anecdotal.
Excellent. Dr. Fauci, initiate the final plan.
They never even asked you. Welcome, family and friends, to the Mark Pyre's Renaissance Man Show. We are live every single day of the year for unscripted live comedy, songwriting in the moment, and total inspiration. So join us on a tour of some of the accomplishments and content created in the first 1,000 days and counting of Renaissance Man. Since January 1st, 2021, 170 songs have been written and released on iTunes and Spotify. Though my monthly streak has come to an end, I will be dropping many albums for you going forward. Join us for the live comedy news. Every night of the year, 7 stories are chosen, SNL Weekend update style. I've also released 4 feature comedy films. Batmark vs. Supermark, Three's Company the Breakup Artist, A Christmas Story, and Peter Bishop, the Wolf of Crypto. BB Poo Poo! Things were pretty bad for BB Poo Poo at the beginning. Within these comedies, many original characters have surfaced. You know, we have Batmark, Dick Facce, which he doesn't look like this really, but that's Foch. And then, of course, Supermark, who's pretty freaking super if you ask me. Just saying. Hammerlin Jameson's a bit of a drunkard, and he tried to get the role of Supermark. It didn't go well. He does all right as a side gig of, newscaster situation. But you can see in that top photo, he's not doing too well these days. Anyway. Dr. Wayne Doppler, tallest man alive, 8'9", Guinness, and he's also in the Batmark and Supermark movie. And Dr. Weasel Fauci, if you don't know who he is, we have 5,647 masks, especially if you're going to Mars. Stuck on Mars. I will be making a movie out of that. Sid 45, make sure you don't get rupees. Sid has rupees literally pouring out of his igloo. Francesco Vigilughi. Look, if you ever need a cartographer, there's just one guy. The Curious Case of Ben Affleck Head. It's about a guy with a head so large he could literally change the poles. Oh, Dystopia 2021. If you missed that, that's the world we're living in today. If you haven't seen it, I did a couple episodes on it. And of course, we have many episodes of Spider-Mark, Peter Marker. If you didn't know, check it out. Mark Pyres of the Caribbean. That was a hilarious movie. And then if you can't dance, you just, watch this episode. There's 2 of them. Really good stuff. And did you watch Match Game? I did it. and Pressure Luck in it. We did a little Pressure Luck style too, Peter DeMarkin. And if you didn't see Waterworld 2027, I'm the last one left because of the bugaboo. We did many other homages to movies and TV shows and Fache Mulder.
Sonny, you still got the cough?
There are over 100 insane scenes with Dick Fache. And then of course I saved the world, saved all the animals and stuff too.
Zucker Chooch, are you kidding me? Excuse me, are you freaking kidding me?
We did a couple of raps this year. My Aunt Judy told me I could do a rapper's delight and took a poop in my double diaper. Back to the Future, Mark. Guys, the next movie that's coming out, Back to the Future, Mark. You may not remember some of the characters that I was in the past, so let's just go over it in real time. Marxist, I did it. Ten Commandments. Markstradamus, telling the future, of course. Oh, and the artwork I created as Leo Marco da Vinci. The Mona Lisa, when I got that freaking red, like murdering a family. That was what O.J. Simpson of the 1600s. Hey, Michelangelo, after you finish that, sculpture, you think you could paint the ceiling? Got it. Circumnavigating the globe as Mark Jellin. Markola Tesla? If I didn't do my time here as Markola, you guys would have nothing when it comes to electricity. I still can't believe it. I'm sitting there, I'm writing the Fur Elise, right? I'm in the middle of it. And they're scratching it out and they're writing freaking that hack Beethoven's name on it, right? Don't even get me started on what they did when I was Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Doing the fifth and taking all that work. And then, like modern days, when I'm doing Mark and M, doing the 8 Mile situation. Mark and M's the man now, but I paved the way as the Marktorious B.I.G. as well. When I was Mark Claude Van Damme, I remember that one. Oh, Mark Schwarzenegger? You didn't know I was Mark Schwarzenegger? Yeah, that was funny when I worked next to DeVito. The Emancipation Marklamation of 1863. I did my time as Abraham Mark Lincoln. You guys didn't know I was Abraham Mark? You guys are all Mark Della. That's why this is all part of the Mark Della effect. Everybody's like, Mandela. No, it's Mark Della. Get with it. And then the time I was Mark Guyver, remember, you give me a freaking toothpick and some tooth floss and we're off. I'm building a bomb. So that's just a good overview of a lot of the shows, not all of them. We have tons of new gear up on the website, guys, markpires.com. And there you can pick up your gear, you can pick up a signed CD, and also don't forget about beatseat.rocks, my invention that I patented. This is her.
No, Joanne, I want to jump in now. Saturday Night Live style.
Welcome to beatseat.rocks. My name is Mark Pires, and I'm the inventor.
No, you better
of the
stop
Beat
the
Seat.
wheezing.
Today I'm going to share all of the details
section.
of the Beat Seat. It's the ultimate percussion drum. You can play it with your hands and feet while sitting completely upright.
Whatever,
It's got
Wheezy
4
McGee.
playable panels, omnitone. Everywhere you hit it sounds different.
Surprise,
It's
did you bring the
drum you
WD
can sit
today?
completely upright and play with your hands and feet at the same time. It's the Beat Seat. It's the only drum that you can play with your hands and feet while sitting completely upright. Anything you'd play in a drum kit, you could play on this because you're playing with your entire body.
Joanne, they
but you're
can't
sitting
hear
upright.
the Beat Seat over your
You do
wheeze. Just stop it. Hold it in. Like 30 seconds, okay? Thanks.
So that's the Beat Seat, the ultimate percussion drum. You can play it with your hands, with your feet at the same time. It has unlimited tones. There's so much to explore. I hope to build one for you. Have a great day. Thank you for watching. And of course, fam, I can't leave you without a little bit of motivation. So take these quotes with you as we get ready to rock for one more night. And yes, we will be doing it again tomorrow. So, until I see you in just a moment, it's Mark Pires. And it's Renaissance Man.
When the wind starts blowing, I'm going to find a way world stops hating, we're going to find a way.
Tickets are available at the box office. Thanks for helping us keep the theater clean. As you exit the auditorium, please deposit litter in trash receptacles in the lobby. Please be considerate and don't talk during the show.
Thank you for coming to love. Oh yeah. Who's ready?
Enjoy the show.
It's Saturday Night Live! It's Mark Pyres. And it's Renaissance Man.
For another way.
I'm here
Ease my
to
mind and
ease
know
my
my
mind and help my living. It's a Renaissance Man. It's daily variety show Mark Pyres Renaissance Man. I'm here to connect with you, to amplify your current state, and I'm here with you on day 1195 in a row of the Renaissance Man Show. And we're going to get into it just like we do every single day for the last 1,195 days in a row. So don't go anywhere. Hit that screen if you're on TikTok. Join us on YouTube because we're about to get down for 2+ hours of complete insanity. It's been that for 1,195 days in a row, guys. We don't have a script. We come here and get into it. And Joanne wheezes. That's her thing. She's a Wheezy McGee. Zabrowski's a woohoo guy, Grammy winner. So if you're into Grammy winners, like real, like quality, not like, oh, I had someone do an auto-tune for me and now I got a freaking Grammy. No, Zabrosk, no auto-tune on that woohoo, right? You guys will experience a new fresh woohoo today. Every day we get a fresh woohoo from Zabrosk. He's on the payroll. When you're paying Zabrosk the big bucks, he comes out to do Grammy performance, you better bring it, because you know we're here judging him on a daily. It's you're just talking 1 to 10. He's never gone as low as a 3 before, but you know that one time he hit a 4.6, and we almost had to fire him. You know, it's a tough thing when you got a Zabrosk and he's a Grammy winner, but then that one day he comes in and he's just like, I don't feel like bringing it. You know, I paid you that day. You can't bring it like every day with the same amount of gusto? That's what you're doing. You're dealing with it, you know? What's that? No, Zabrosk, I know you do your best, but that day you know you didn't do your best. So I want to welcome each and every one of you. This is a live improvisation, live songwriting, live inspiration and positivity platform for 1,195 days in a row. I'm about to debut a brand new song for you that has never been heard in the history of time. It was written last night, but it was 22 minutes long when I played it last night. It is officially 6 minutes and 34 seconds, something like that, or 6 minutes. And, I can't wait. It's this blues freaking masterpiece called They Sweepin' Us Up. And the bottom line is this last 4 or 5 years has been a sweep up. They're trying to sweep us all up into some fear-mongering, fear-based situation where we can't think for ourselves anymore, and all we do is do whatever they want us to do, is to just give in. And you know what? I don't want to ever do that. I will be here every day forever, providing a platform of truth and the moment, creation, live creation, and hopefully that'll give us all the chance to step away from all the negativity of this world. That's all I can offer. I realize it's like, okay, if all goes down, I can't be the guy who's like, look, I'll go hunt for us. No, sorry. I can't be the guy who's like, I'll go and plant some freaking, vegetables. No, I'll grab a guitar and a beat seat and rock it out for you. You guys, can you do the planting and the hunting? Zabrosk, we need a woohoo! Woohoo! Right? You guys didn't even think it was coming. I knew I was getting it because I pay the guy, but when you get a woohoo that good on a Saturday Night Live, right? Wow, guys, you come down Saturday Night Live. Oh no, Christopher Walken the talk. Oh no, they're my friends. It's Saturday Night Live, but no. Sometimes when Christopher Walken comes out to play and Joanne's wheezing through it, it's hard for Christopher Walken to get a word in. You know what I mean? Because she's a wheezer back there. And then sometimes Owen Wilson comes by, of course, we're going to go down Saturday Night Live. We're going to go have a good time. We're going to do going out with the Zoolander. Going to go out with Ben Stiller. Going to go out and talk about the next film. What are we talking about? Got my nose. When you got an Owen Wilson nose and you're doing it, you know, like that's a nose, you know. It's like, that's something that when I was Michelangelo, I probably would have crafted that nose, you know. You guys don't know the story? Back to the future, Mark. I've been everybody. I'm from the year 2769. My name is Future Mark. And basically, you could ask me any questions. If you want to know anything about the future, I could tell you what's coming. Everybody here at Renaissance Man Show knows this. We've had 8 episodes of Future Mark. And I come back from the future. I'm here to answer your questions, tell you what's coming, get you prepared for the future. It's not good. All right, but you need to know before it hits you in the face. So Future Mark came back, 2769. I'm like one of the last people left, you know, because the bugaboo. Everybody's like, yeah, I'm gonna go get it. I trust Dr. Weasel Frauchi. You did it, you know. My ancestors, they decided to just say, I'll just be a little more skeptical of the man, you know. You never heard of Don't Trust the Man? 2769. I would have given you all the insight. I would have told you, but you needed to come and ask the questions. If you do have any questions for Future Mark, he is in this evening, and he can answer them for you. Remember, it's not just from the future. It's a timeline thing in the future. You know, you're going back into timelines as different human beings. That's how advanced we are in 2769. So I go back and alter timelines as different, major human, figures. Like that's when we're talking about Michelangelo. I was there. I did the David. I'm there doing the freaking Sistine Chapel, to God touching the human. That was me. They're sitting down and they're doing the ancient documents. Oh, this is a beautiful book by Michelangelo. That's right, Michelangelo. They wrote down Michelangelo. They wanted to go like biblical. They hacked it off for me, you know what I mean? Oh, Michelangelo's having a bad month. We're going to give it to him. Yeah, Backass knows about it. When I was Mark Stradamus, that was another thing that you have to remember. Because I was telling the future when I was Mark Stradamus. And everybody's like, we don't believe him. I'm like, you never heard of the quatrains? I did the quatrains. I'm throwing them all over the place. And I'm reading them. I'm like, in the year of 2020, cities will burn. The new city will burn. I was Mark Stradamus. I did it. Then they freaking gave it to Nostradamus. It was the same thing. He had a bad year, There was a pestilence. And, his family, they all died of the Black Plague. And they're like, give him a win. Give Nostradamus a win. I'm like, whatever. I got to go back to the future anyway and re-up. 2769 in it. I got back to my, to steady and then right back in time, you know what I mean? And then when I'm doing Margolian, that was no good. I had to take over France doing it, Margolian. And everybody's like, oh, you got a Margolian complex. I'm like, no, I don't have a Margolian complex. I'm just being Margolian, you know what I mean? I'm ruling France right now, you know what I mean? I did sell, it was a Louisiana Purchase deal. Like I probably shouldn't have done the Louisiana Purchase, but it happened. That was a bad move. I didn't consult the future documents before doing a Margolian selling off the Louisiana, doing the Louisiana Purchase deal, But these are things you learn. I'm not perfect. I didn't always consult the ancient documents, the future documents when I was also Mark Jellin and I'm circumnavigating the globe, LL Cool J style. Got on a world tour. That was another time. That was very difficult. Very difficult to navigate the globe without my, future codex. I had it, and then I left it behind, Mark, Jellin, just doing it, That's also where we have our cartographer. If you guys don't know about our cartographer, Vigilugi. Vigilugi was the greatest cartographer of all time, And when Federico Vigilugi, when he did it, they're all like, oh, that map is dead on. Vigilugi. What do you think you're getting from a Vigilugi besides a masterpiece? You're getting like Picasso of maps when you're doing, a Vigilugi is like, they're in museums. Hold on, am I finding where's Vigilugi? Yeah, right there. Museum of Natural History. Right, they have a Vigilugi right now. You should go check it out. Guys, if you don't go and you support the Vigilugi family crest, That's on you. That's on you. Joanne, what do we have for the news today? It's Saturday Night Live, and we have 8 news stories before we get into a song. No, we're going to do the song first, Joanne. I'm sorry. You got to play this new song. I'm excited because I haven't heard it in full yet. And if you're here on TikTok, please smash the freaking link tree above or below my name and subscribe to the YouTube page. This is the 1195th day in a row of 2+ hours of variety, live songwriting, live comedy, and just trying to inspire you to find the greatest version of yourself. We all have it inside of us, but it's not going to present itself unless we start digging in. We're all so consumed with what everybody else is doing. And let me compare myself to that guy and that girl and what that business is doing instead of what my business is doing and what my heart is pounding and saying. You need to start listening to your inner heart, your inner voice, whatever it is, but something needs to break you away from this world of lies. It's all lies. And I refuse to let you go down the path of destruction by being sideswiped and swept aside, swept under, because they are sweeping us up. So, who wants to hear the new song? This right here. I don't know if it's going to be any good. I have no idea. All I can tell you is I wrote it live here last night. And I started, this is what's kind of cool. I started the riff the night before, right before the end of the show. It's like 2 hours and 2 minutes into the show. And I'm like, all right, guys, have a good night. I had this going. I grabbed the guitar and I start jamming along with Go Away Right Now, which is one of my songs on iTunes and Spotify. And all of a sudden I come up with this riff. So at 2 hours and 2 minutes, I start jamming on this riff. And 2 hours, 34 minutes later, 2 hours and 34 minutes was when the end of the show was. For 30 minutes, I jammed. So it was like I was saying goodnight and it turned into a 30-minute jam. I only took 12 seconds, 15 seconds of that 30 minutes because what we did last night needed to be chopped up properly. So this right here is, they're sweeping us up. It's a brand new song. It will be on my next album. And please remember, if you don't know this yet, I try to release an album as often as possible. For 13 months in a row, I released an album. There is 170 songs from a 13-month period on iTunes and Spotify, and my next album's coming out in a few weeks. So just make sure you give me a follow on Spotify, and if you do like my music, pick up a couple albums, support a brother. I'm an independent music artist. I don't make any money for anything I do here. I show up for this world because it needs it, and hopefully what I do create one day will at least generate something for a bill or two, or to pay for my freaking wire that needs to be replaced on the guitar. But I've done this for 3 years in a row every single day just because I love what we do here. It helps me break away from this negative world. And I hope that when I'm getting into these moments and creating something, it helps you realize that we can do anything. And specifically because what we're doing does not exist. Just think about that. Every single thing that happens on this show does not exist. It all happens live in the moment. And with that, I can't ask for anything more than to just hope the creation continues. Because we have nothing, but we have everything. So, I won't let them sweep us up.
Sun to rise, would you sleep? Another one, and again, and again, yeah. Just when it's gonna end, never. Oh, they're just wrapping it up. Before you know it, yeah, they're sweeping us up. They keep sweeping us up.
keep sweeping us up. They're digging them holes, putting us down on the ground, down 6 feet under. Yeah, there's no coming back. Yeah, when they put that thing in your neck. Yeah, oh, what we're talking about. Yeah, 2022. Yeah, we're all doomed if we just to follow the course. If we listen to them all on the mainstream, we're gonna go down the rabbit hole. Yeah, 'cause nothing they're saying is true. To keep on lying to me and you. Keep sweeping us up. Keep sweeping us up. Keep sweeping us up. Keep sweeping us up. What's the point? What's the point? So what's the point? So what's the point of even tuning in? Yeah, anymore. All they're gonna do is open all these doors that fill with fear of your self-conscious state. Yeah, you can't get up, you can't ever get away. No, again, they're just sweeping you up. People all standing around, waiting for the sound of bomb blast. Yeah, the gunshots ring out, swinging past. Yeah, it's whizzing by. Yeah, there's the propaganda. Yeah, this all a war machine, the fear mongering. Yeah, they're trying to keep us down in a hole so we can come together as one soul. No, and that's what we gotta do, don't you know? Oh, 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 oh. They keep sweeping us up. They keep sweeping us up. Yeah, no, they're sweeping us up. They keep sweeping us up. Yeah, you know they're sweeping us up. Oh my goodness. Craziness. So I do want to say that in general,
I am so crazy in love with that song and basically everything that we've been creating on this show since day one. I'm just thankful. I'm just thankful that we get into these moments. And it's funny because it's Jerry's comment is it's something I've heard so many times before because I make the stupidest faces. But I've said that to before. Even like my kid joked once, like, "Daddy, you make all pretty weird faces." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know. You know what it would be like if I was like sitting here and I'm like with a guitar and I'm going." And she came along and said, like, no, I'm sorry. Like that is when music is crap. And whenever I've seen any musicians who are trying to look good for the camera, they're terrible musicians. I'm sorry. Nobody wants to hear somebody who's just like trying to look good on screen. I want to see somebody. I want to see someone feeling something. I want to get into the actual moment that person's going through. And like, even if it's some weird face, I want to be like, what the is that person feeling to make that face? You know what I mean? And like often I've said, I have to keep my eyes closed when I'm writing a song because I can't come up with all those lyrics. These lyrics are insane. They only happen because I'm able to channel a moment of peace within the song. That's the reality of what it is. I'm opening up a momentary balance in the universe for myself. Right there in the song. And it allows me to just find something that doesn't exist. Again, things that don't exist become reality here on this show. I want to share something I heard about, and I think it's true, and I think that we're onto something here, and this is why we've been doing this, and why every day Anna's here back-ass. We got Cheryl, Christine, Jerry, Mental, we got Jacqueline Grace, we got Pamela Swan, S-Coop, Sage Pup, my brother, Trish Killian, and Yardbirds. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. And when I see you coming back, I'm thinking, okay, look, here's what I'm learning about our energy here that we're building. The more that we bring in, the better and more probable the chance of us changing this world. It becomes a reality if we bring the world in. And why do you think it's been impossible to date? Because the elite and all the people who are afraid of destruction know that this is the platform where we all come together and we change the world. Oh, that sounds like really cocky, Mark. I'm sorry. I don't know anybody else has been live for 1,195 days in a row to a very small group of people and still freaking shows up. Just imagine if we had a ton of people out there feeling great after they left here. Oh, that's just crazy to think that way. Is it? I think what's crazier is to think that for 3+ years, every single day, a guy who lives in the light and just pours positivity out and writes songs in the moment like the one you just freaking heard can't be found and has 8 people on with him right now. For 3 freaking years. I'm showing up tomorrow. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying. That is, to me, the anomaly. Is that I don't quit. That's the anomaly. It's easy to go 1,195 days in a row when you got thousands of people watching you every day. I want to see you do it when you have 8 people showing up on day 1,195 in a row. Nobody on planet Earth. There's only one soul who was meant to show up tonight again. So what are we going to do about it? What are the 8 of us, the 9 of us going to do about that? Are we going to let them just destroy this platform of love and light over and over every freaking day? Every single person here should be pushing share right now. Share with somebody on your phone. Share with your sister, with your brother, with your parents. You guys know Cody watches this show with his kids? This is a show for every family. Remember we used to watch Family Ties. We used to watch Growing Pains. Where are the programs for the entire family? I don't know of any. I don't know of one single program where grandparents, parents, and kids could all watch it, and babies could all watch it, and it's not going to offend anybody. Unless you're a Karen, and then you're offended by anything. But we put out a show here that the entire family can enjoy. And that's the point. I don't care what's going on in the chat. I want you guys to speak freely, say how you speak in the real world. Don't stop speaking your way. You drop F-bombs in the real world and you want to drop them there, go freaking ahead. If you've been here before and you're like, I don't like how people censor me. Nobody's censoring you anymore in my chats. All of the mods know this. This is a free platform. The way I want to speak and the way I want to be treated is the way every single soul in the chat is to be treated. If someone comes in there and they start abusing somebody or they're abusing, that's it. You give them 3 strikes and then they're gone. But no one's getting booted from my platform. You guys say however you feel, whenever you feel. This is about full expression. This is the one platform on planet Earth where you can leave it all at the door or you can let it all out in the chat, but you're not going to be suppressed. You're not going to be banned. You're not going to be blocked. And I'm sorry if that happened to you along the way. If you happen to be tuning in and you're like, hey, I was banned, send me a message. My email is mp@markpires.com. I will unban you and make sure that you can always have access to the program and to the chat. I don't want anybody to feel like they can't speak their mind. I do agree with some of the mods who didn't like when there were trolls in here and they were just trying to clean up the chat. I get that. But the reality is trolls will be trolls. Nothing affects me. Guys, I've been trolled by big tech for 1,195 days in a row. You think I give a freaking crap if some troll group comes in here and tries to tell me I suck? And oh, look, you've got 9 people on. You blow, dude. You've been here. You ought to just quit. Okay. I've been hearing that from the freaking world for 1,195 days in a row. You think I give a crap if some freaking troll doesn't know anything about me? Oh my goodness, you really pierced my soul on that one. No, you're a freaking troll and I don't even care. Like nothing bothers me when it comes to that. I am so certain this is what I'm meant to do with my life. I'm meant to show up and change this world one day at a time. But the thing is, I can't do it alone. I know that. This is us. This is us. There are 13 right now. You know what that is? You guys are the freaking 12 that need to make something happen. I'm out there doing everything I can. 11 out there. I was making it happen. So do if you can share it. And, the beautiful thing about this is I never know what the freak we're going to do. I really don't. Even now, I didn't know I was going to get into this. I just was thinking about it for a second. Like, geez, that's a kind of weird, Joanne. We're still here killing it on a daily. Just dropped another awesome song. They're sweeping you up. They're sweeping us up. Sweeping this show up every freaking day of the year. Let's just sweep it under the rug, guys. Don't let anybody hear this. Don't let anybody hear someone passionate speaking their mind that cares. I think that if people found this program, they'd realize that the freaking bullcrap race, all this race baiting and all this what am I today stuff is just nonsense. Be whatever you want that makes you feel great. Just don't go out there and push your views on people, especially children, okay? That needs to stop. Uncle Jerome. Hey, buddy, good to see you, Pillow Man. It's funny. My brother, Austin Horn, he's a very good friend of mine. I went to high school with him, and he was in my Spanish class. Austin in high school had the greatest dreads. He had these crazy dreads that came down. He's redhead. Crazy dreads came down to his shoulders. Oh, I freaking love Austin Horn's smile. Austin Horn has the greatest smile. I love my brother. And, it's funny that I remember people's smiles. That's what I remember most about every single person is their smile. Because a smile has an energetic value that costs 0 to the currency holder. And nobody wants to remember that. They want to keep it to themselves, and it doesn't cost you anything, but it affects real change. And I remember Austin's smile. Why? Because he affects real change in me. When I see someone smile, I'm like, look at that freaking smile. I met a dude the other day. I'm on the WhatsApp chatting with him, and he's out in London. We had a great chat, and I'm looking at the guy, and I told him my quote, and I said, I wrote this quote a few years ago, a smile has an energetic value that costs 0 to the currency holder. And you have the greatest smile. I'm like, keep smiling, brother. And he goes, my father used to say that to me, but same exact thing. He said, a smile costs you nothing. And I'm like, that is so true that has been a saying forever. A smile costs you nothing. And the ultimate definition of that saying is that a smile has an energetic value. Each smile has an energetic value. Why do I know that to be true? Because I've had it happen to me. I was watching Instagram. This guy had 1 million people. I think he had 1 million subs, not 1 million people on, but he had a lot, maybe 100,000 people were watching. It was crazy. This guy's walking around in the Caribbean, and he's like, they're all saying, smile, smile. And I'm like, what the freak is he talking? What did they want him to smile? Like, what are we talking about, right? And he said, you want me to smile? Okay, I'll smile. He's like, but remember, you can't smile. Don't smile. If you smile, you lose, okay? And so he's kind of teeing him up. And I'm like, what is this guy doing, you know? And so he goes, remember, don't smile. You smile, you lose. If you don't smile, you win. So he's looking at the camera and he just goes... And he smiles bright at the camera. And I realized without even thinking, I was smiling back at him. And I'm like, holy freaking cow, I lost. And I said, a smile has an energetic value. And that was when I thought of it. And I wrote the quote down, and it's on Instagram the day I wrote it. And then I've always said it since. It's on my intro every day. You see that. It's one of the quotes at the end of the intro. And something you need to remember. And whenever things are going bad, you know, here's another thing. Every single thing you do in life should be led with a smile. If you walk into a doctor's office, lead with a smile. You go into the mechanic's office, lead with a freaking smile. You go to the grocery store, lead with a smile. You get gas, you go to the gas station, lead with a freaking smile. You go and you see your lawn mowing guy, lead with a smile. Stranger, lead with a smile. You are affecting real change. We have to fill our souls with small acts of kindness. It's necessary. It's not something that maybe I should do. No, you got to do it like all the time. Not only because you're bettering the universe around you, but because every kindness pays you back in something called fulfillment. You get more in return than you feel in the moment. There's an offshoot of additional energy, additional positivity that you get for a future time or some sort of karmic reaction. And all I can say is I haven't seen that side of the, I've been showing up and I don't know, I'm out here doing whatever I can. I can't say that in my world that I live, that I see like, oh, wow, it's coming back to, I'm not doing it for that reason though. I'm not doing things. I'm not showing up every day. So it comes back to me, but I can say it's not an immediate thing, but you do things because you're filling this barometer within you for a future reason. I don't know what my reason is, but I have to keep showing up because I'm filling this barometer. And it's my own personal. Everybody has their own. Like some people maybe don't have to do anything and they're feeling okay to elevate and to evolve to the next level. But for me, every day, even if I'm working on real estate and I'm not focused on any other acts of kindness except for working to try to make a living, when I show up here every night, this is my opportunity to do it, in order to do something for somebody other than myself. And living in the moment, what's beautiful about that is it allows me to fully explore my soul. I have no idea what I'm going to say ever. And with that, there's the ultimate fear for most people, but for me, it's the most exciting thing that I could ever experience. There's no rope. There's no net below. You just go. And whatever happens, happens. Whether it's good or bad, you're doing it because something has to happen. It just seems like because I'm not afraid to keep going, you know what I mean? Like I'll start with some silly thing and then all of a sudden we're doing Mitchison and his freaking wig on Thursdays with the discount. And then like the Frostflavins and it's just, what the hell? It's crazy how everything's just continues to evolve because I'm not afraid to fail. I'm going to tell you guys a story. I'm not sure if I should, but I'm going to tell it anyway because most people are afraid to talk about their failures. They only want to talk about their successes. So about 2013, 2014, it was 2013. I was a real estate agent for a few years. And I had started to my whole goal was to get into the high end. I wanted to work with the uber wealthy. I wanted to be the guy who says, look, in life, if you could work with people who are very successful, that have accomplished something in life, and you work at a level that they saw that they worked at a certain time in life in order to get to where they are, then you will generate a certain amount of opportunity for yourself, I guess you could say. So I wore a suit every day for 11 years in real estate. I was the youngest guy in town. I got my license because we had our first child. I was about to sign a record deal and I decided not to. I didn't sign it because they wanted me to move to LA. They wanted to redo they were going to put a band around me, which I was actually excited about at the time. But they said, you need to move out here. And I was about to get married 6 months later. So the question was, okay, well, I guess we'll just go out to LA. But I live in a town where my wife's been for four generations. And she's like, I'm not going any away from my family, you know? So you go, we'll work it out. And I'm not doing that. So I decided not to sign a record deal. It's not as cut and dry as that. In fact, the record deal I got was so bad that the guy told me, they said, if you sign this, it's like the thing that Billy Joel signed, his first deal. So like you make nothing and like they make everything. And I was like, what? He's like, go back to him and tell him that you want to do this, that, and another thing. And that if they do that, you'll sign the deal. But I never went back to him and gave those terms to them. I just walked. And that was because the term that they wouldn't change was me moving to LA. So now I decide, what am I going to do? My father's a builder. So I'm working for my father. I'm traveling, I'm playing music in the area. I didn't sign that record deal going out to LA, and I'm about to get married. So with this process, so many crazy things happen within the process, but I almost signed something else with a different group of people. And all this happened right around the same time I met my wife. So just to fast forward a little, so this makes more sense. In 2011, invent the beat seat, the first drum for singer-songwriters, because I didn't go to LA, didn't sign that record deal, didn't have a band around me. I was still doing the show that I had always done, which was me with my guitar and all these pedals, but I didn't have percussion. So I'd have to beatbox. I'm a terrible beatboxer. So like I'd be playing all these crazy authentic sounding songs because I've got my guitar synthesizer. So I'm playing piano and steel drums and trumpet and all these cool things on my guitar. But I'm going like, boom, boom, chicka, boom, boom. And like, what the freaking hell, you know? So fast forward to 2011, I'm playing at a place called Georgetown Saloon, and it's once a month. It's a residency once a month at this place in Weston, Connecticut. And I'm like, this is great. Former MTV music artist is playing once a month at this place. And I'm playing with a guy who happens to be the drummer for Jose Feliciano. His name's Tiger McNeil. And Tiger's a great guy. Tiger plays a cajon. Now, I never saw a cajon before, but it's a box you sit on and you bend over to play with your hands. You can only play with your hands. And it has two tones, bass and a little bit of a snare sound. So it's a light bass and a snare sound. So he's playing that. He's adding a couple other things. So it sounds like a drum kit. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. So we sound like a band. It's just the two of us. And I'm doing all this crazy stuff with my looping. I should play you one of our tracks. And Tiger's there knocking it out on the cajon. It was so great. 1 week right before the performance. Now remember, this is every month. There's only one performance a month. And about a week before the performance, he goes, hey, I can't play this show. Jose Feliciano's doing a gig and he needs me to play. And I'm like, you're going to play with Jose Feliciano instead of the guy who's just doing this once a month and is real estate agent, you know? And so basically, and I was joking totally, obviously, but yeah, he plays with Jose and I'm left alone a week before the show and I don't have a cajon. And I don't have a guy playing drums or anything. So I say to myself, you know what? I'm going to build myself a cajon. Because if I could just kick it while I play and get the bass at least, boom, 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 while I'm rocking out, you know what I mean? Yardbird said that they suggested a video from 2008. Nice. That's great. They suggest videos from 2008, but nothing from 2022. These freaking people. We have so much content out in the world, but nobody knows about it. Or they don't share it with anybody. I wish they'd share some of these funny pieces of content we put out. So anyway, I'm doing this show. I'm playing with Tiger. He doesn't make it. I'm forced to build a cajon. The moment I build it, I realize it's not built for a singer-songwriter. It's like underneath you and you can't access it. So then I designed the beat seat based on what I saw in my head is what I'd need in order to get what I needed done. Within that, I create the first drum that you could sit on and play completely upright with your hands and feet at the same time. You could kick it. It sounds like a full drum kit. Or it sounds like a really deep kick drum and a really awesome snare. Or if you're someone with special needs, you know, someone with autism, it's a sensory therapy drum. We've sold these to a lot of special needs practitioners, and they're all working with children with autism and people recovering from cancer. And this is it's an opportunity for you to let out all of your stress and to feel something. If anybody's, dealing with an autistic child, there's not a one size fits all. So the Beat seat may be something that can really give them an outlet. The other thing is it's the perfect seat for a guitar player, like the height. So just to move forward a little bit, I'm playing with this show. I'm doing that, but I got my real estate license because we needed to figure out how to survive in this world. I get my license, and one day I walk into this place. Well, I got to get this story to sound a little better. So forget about the music thing. That is a whole separate thing. Okay. The point was I got my real estate license in order to support this family. Okay. That was what the reality of the situation is. Didn't sign the record deal. And instead I get my license. I'm a real estate agent now with a building background. And my goal was to get into the high end right away. Took me a few years of carving away at it in order to really break in. One day I get a client who happened to be a baseball player. He played for the Yankees and a couple other teams, and he comes into town and he's looking to buy something in my town. So I'm taking this guy out and he doesn't like anything. So I start looking at expired listings, and I call this one listing that had been in the market for 7 years, on and off. Like 8 different agents had it. They tried to auction it off once. It's a crazy place. Like the owner that I'm calling, he spent $21 million in this place, just building it out. I think he's a billionaire. It's like, that's so crazy this dude is. And so I go and I see that it had expired and it's not on the market. So I call him up. I say, hey, look, I got a client who's in town. He happens to be a ball player and he's looking for something unique. And I know that your property is super unique. Would I be able to get a 1-day listing and show it? He goes, yeah, I'll give you a 1-day listing. I'll pay you a full commission if you could sell it to this client. I'm like, what? I didn't expect that. I'd just be like, can I show it? And if I get it, I'll get a piece of, that's great. I'm happy to go. He's like, I'll give you the full commission. I was like, poof. So I bring my client over, we walk around, and he doesn't like it. He just didn't feel like it was worth the money they were asking. And so I went in the next day to see this guy and to thank him. And I just said, because he had his own office in town, and my town is a crazy town. Like, to have your own office in the middle of this town is like, you got to be doing something right. So he's got an office there, and I go in and see him just to thank him. And so his office manager is the sweetest lady. And we used to have the greatest talks while I was waiting to go in and see him. And this is where I told you about leading with a smile. I'd go in and see her every day. And not every time I'd go in there, but every time I went in there, just this big smile on my face because she was so sweet. And I didn't know how they would respond, to be honest. I thought, I'm this young guy showing up in a suit, and this guy's going to be like, I don't have time to talk to this kid. Get the frig out of here. He's like, this guy's like at least hundreds of millionaire. You know what I mean? And I know because he sold a bunch of insurance companies. So this is like a real deal guy. And I'm just going in there to say thank you. Look, I appreciate the time. And at that same year, I was the first guy to bring drone technology into Fairfield County. So I was all over the news that year. So I go in to see him and I said, look, I want to let you know that I appreciate the time. It didn't work out with this buyer, but I'd love to list your property and sell it. I know you've tried over the years, but I've gotten a lot of press this year being the drone guy. And all of a sudden I'm getting a lot of calls. And again, thinking outside the box as a young guy got me somewhere. I was on the news for like a full year of Fox News and NBC, not Fox, but Fox Connecticut, NBC Connecticut, Channel 8 Connecticut, Channel 12 Connecticut, and then in the newspapers. And I have actually one of them in a plaque here. And so at the end of this, I'm telling the guy, look, I got a call coming in, like maybe another one coming in for me to do another story on the drone. Let me get in there and shoot your property from all these different angles. He's like, you know what? Everybody wants my listing. And this is what he says. Everybody wants my listing, but they come in, they ask for it once, and then I never see him again. And I heard that. And so what I decided to do was go in and see him every 3 weeks. So for 9 months, every 3 weeks, I go in to see Rodney. And every time I go in there, I expect them to say, Rodney doesn't have time to talk to you, Mark, And I'm like, I said, I'll sit and wait, And so she says, all right, hold on, let me see. He's in the middle of a meeting. And I'm like, he's going to say he doesn't have time for me. And every single time I went in there, the door would open and he would be sitting at his desk and he'd say, take a seat. And I'd go and sit down with this man who'd accomplished things. and he would hit me with these pearls. He told me about a story where he was just married. They had their first child, and he's selling insurance to doctors, young doctors, family practices in this town in Idaho. He goes in and sees this one doctor. He says to the doctor, I'd love to sell you insurance and see if I can give you a better plan and if I could help you in any way. So the guy goes, yeah, look, you can see what I have here. Let me know what I'm missing. He gives him his entire, current portfolio, whatever it is. And he looks through it and he goes, you don't have any new, employees or expecting a child or anything. And he goes, no, not right now. He goes, okay, well, what you have is actually very, whoever made this for you, give you a good plan. If anything changes, I'd love an opportunity. If you get another employee, I'd love to see if I can run the numbers for you and if I can give you a better plan. But whoever did this did a good job. And the guy goes, take a look again. He goes, sir, I looked at it. You did a great job. This is a good plan for your current situation. And he looked at him sideways. He goes, I've never had an insurance guy not try to upsell me for something. Like, I got to pay for bread. He said, and because Rodney didn't do that, because he specifically had integrity, and he said, you got a good plan. Let me know if I could help in the future. The integrity led to Rodney getting all of the business. He took over the entire area. Every doctor wanted to deal with the guy with integrity in the insurance business. So he's sitting there and he's telling me, keep doing what you're doing. And this has nothing to do with Renaissance Man. This has to do with real estate. He's like, keep doing what you're doing. He's like, you're hustling. He goes, believe me, people see it. And one day it's going to pay off. And he's like, just don't give up. It's all the same stuff that we're doing and talking about now. But he's saying, you don't give up. Just keep doing what you're doing. Repetition. Because you're doing the right things. He's like, you're showing up. Look, you're sitting down with me. We're having a conversation. He's like, you're doing the right things. Keep doing the right things. And this guy was just the sweetest man in the world. So I go in there for 9 months. By month 10, now remember, every time I go in there, I'm not even asking for the listing. I'm just going in there to let him know that I'm thinking about him. I go in there. By time 4 or 5, I was like, I'm going to ask. I go in there on my 5th time, I think it was. And I got a call from Fox News, Connecticut. They say, we want to do another story because something happened with the FAA and they're going to start fining people who are flying drones, but you're not charging anybody. Do you want to do a story on it and how you still are not going to stop flying it? They told people to stop flying them. And I was like, screw you. I'm not charging anybody. I'm doing it. I'm giving my clients free aerial photography. And it's providing a view of and they're like, well, you're making money if you sell the property. I was like, okay, you come after me. And they never did, thank goodness. But I said, yeah, I'll do another story. They're like, we need a property. So I go in to see Rodney. I say, Rodney, there's a property. They need a property. And this is Fox News, Connecticut. And can we do it at your property and put it on the market at the same time? We can try to sell it. And he goes, no, I've already been on the news before. We did it a couple of years ago for NBC. And I'm like, oh man, like if some people like this had already had that done before, they're not really impressed. He's like, nah, whatever. It's not a big deal. Not to mention he had this guy standing there who's giving me like the real evil eye, and it wound up that guy's trying to sell it. He's not a realtor. He's somebody who's a family friend to them. He's trying to sell it on the side and he's trying to make a commission, even though he's not a realtor. Okay. So this is going on and I don't know that. I go in there and I'm like, here, look, let's go send this. Let's put it on the market. And this guy's like, he's giving me the kibosh right off the bat. I'm like, what the freak is going on with this guy? So I walk out of there, not only without the listing, but all of a sudden I feel like I went back 10 steps. You know what I mean? Like I had this great relationship and I'm showing up to prove that I care and that I want this. Not that I just want to come in once and be like, give it to me. I showed up. We're on this is 5 months in a row showing up to see this man who said, every agent just comes to see me once and they never come back again. 5 months in a row. I asked, this guy gives me the kibosh. And so I'm walking out of there, I'm holding the paperwork and I'm like, man, this freaking blows. What the hell happened there? So next month I come in and I don't ask again. I just come in to say hello. And again, Rodney sits me down. And every time I'm like, man, this is unreal. This guy's such a nice man. Let's see. I was 34 years old, okay? And this guy's 73 years old, 74 years old. So he's 40 years older than me. And he saw something in my eyes. He saw something or heard something in the way I speak. Whatever it was, he allowed me to sit down with him each time. And so I go in there on month 10 or 11, whatever the freak it was. It was many times in. And I walk in and the doors are both open. Now, every time I went there, Bernadette's door was always open, but Rodney's was never open. It was always closed. And I walk over and they're both open. And I just kind of walk over. I don't see anybody on this side, and I just look over that way. And there he is, and he's packing a box. And it's like empty in there. And as I walk in, he goes, Mark, we sold the place. And my freaking heart hit the ground. Because I'm thinking to myself, man, I came in here for 11 months to try to see if I can prove to this man that I deserve the listing. And he says, we sold it to some foreign company. They're from Hong Kong, and they're buying this property. He goes, but don't worry about it. They want to flip it. And I'm like, what? This property you took 7 years to sell, they want to flip? Like, what are we talking about here? You know? So he's like, yeah, they want to flip it. So he said, when they're ready to sell it, I told them that they must at least interview you because you proved to me that you deserve this listing, and you at least deserve an opportunity to be interviewed by them. And I said, wow. And I walked out of there feeling terrible. I couldn't believe that 11 months went by. I went by every month. I spent a lot of time trying to prove myself. And at the end, it was sold. This guy wound up finding a buyer, the guy I was telling you about. And so he sells it, and this happens, and he says, you know, they're going to call you. And I'm like, whatever, you know. So months go by, and Labor Day weekend, I get a call, and it's the new owners. We got your information from Rodney, and he said that we have to at least interview you because you proved yourself to him, or whatever he said. I'm not sure what he said to them, but he said, Rodney said that we need to interview you. Now, keep in mind, they interviewed everybody. They were interviewing people in Greenwich, Connecticut, all the top agents in Greenwich, Connecticut, all the top agents in my town. And not that I'm not the top agent in my town. Never have been the top agent in my town. Even in my office, I was in an office for 10 years where the agent was the number one agent in town. And just kills it. She gets so many freaking phone calls. You know how frustrating it was that I'd sit there in a suit every day hustling, trying to get one phone call from anybody. Even people I went to school with didn't call me. It was so weird. I was always working with these high net worth individuals, but not people I went to freaking high school with. You know, it's like, I'm twilight zoning it. I'm in a town where I went to school, right? So you think all the people I went to school with would be like, you know, I want to work with Mark if I go back to town. Instead, they work with our friends' mothers who are realtors in town that are all retired and have homes all over the world. I'm like, I got 3 kids and a wife, and I'm paying bills and a mortgage, and you're not thinking about a guy who's hustling instead of some freaking lady who's retired and has a house in Nantucket? You know, like, what world am I living in? But that's why this show started. This show started because December 31st, 2018, I was frustrated with the fact that I had heard about another friend who bought in my town without calling me. And I'm like, how do I let people know I'm here? So I showed up and I did my first Renaissance Man show, which was called Mark Pires Real Talk at the time. And I just said, guys, just so you know, it's December 31st, 2018, and I'm a real estate agent. If you didn't know that, I sell real estate. I work every day of the year. I take 1 week off each year, but every other day I'm dressed and I'm ready and I'm here to help you. And I have a building background. I'm doing all this on the first day. Second day, I come back. Third day, fifth day, whatever. By sixth day, seventh day, my brother goes, you know you can't go every day. No one wants to see you every day. And when he said that, it freaking hit me in the chest because it's my brother. And I said, don't tell me what the world wants and what they need. And because you said that, I'm going to show up not just every day, I'm going to show up every day for the rest of my life. And he started laughing in my face. Well, he was right about one thing. Maybe the world doesn't want to see me every day. Because they've kind of been, you know, I've never been able to crack through the wall of getting people to actually join in enough on a live show. Like I see people with hundreds of people joining with less subscribers than me. It's like, I don't understand. Either people don't like my show or they literally keep my show from people who are subscribed to my show. And that's the only thing that seems to make sense. I saw someone the other day who had like 2,500 less subscribers than me. And they had like 180 people watching them live. And I'm like, what the frick? I've never had, one day I had 200 people, popped over 200 for a minute because Mark Wages sent people over. It was like one of the first days that Wages brought everybody over. It's the only time I've ever seen 200 people on my live. This is about normal right here. But this is what people who have 1,500, 1,200 subs have. Maybe even 500 subs, 300 subs. We're about to hit 10,000. I've never gotten over 100 subs or 100 people live with me at one time. It's stupid. Why am I still here? You know what I mean? My brother's right in a way. Like, obviously, if people liked you, Mark, they'd show up. They'd show up in, in more than 18 or 20, whatever, and, so like, it's a very weird thing because I truly believe what we're doing here is good work and that the world needs it. And my heart of hearts tells me it's just that they don't want anybody to see what we're doing here because it's that powerful. That's what I truly believe. And I refuse to believe it's because the show sucks. I refuse to believe that it's because the world doesn't need this or want this. It's because the world freaking has no idea it exists. After 1,195 days in a row. And that's why it's like the 17 that are here with me right now, 18 that, it's on you guys as much as it is on me to show up. Like, I hate to put it on your shoulders, but like the algorithms, whatever they've set for me, will not change. We will be here forever to 17 or 18 unless you guys make it happen. Unless you guys go out there and say, you get out on a freaking with your megaphone as well. Guys, what do you do at 10 o'clock every night? Every night of the rest of your life, there's a guy live trying to help save this planet. How about just show up whenever? You don't have to show up every day. Just show up whenever. Just put in your freaking calendar that there is one show, and we have to just get an easy link for people to get to. That's why linktree.com/markpires, what Linktree, whatever it is, linktr.ee/markpires is the simplest thing I could make to all of my links. But I'm like, it's so funny to me that sometimes I'll be like in the middle of a song, like writing something, and I'll open my eyes, and it's one of those things where I'm like, holy freaking cow, that moment was so powerful that I'm opening my eyes expecting that there will be 7.7 billion, like, just because that moment needed to be heard by every soul. And I'll open my eyes and I'll see 3 or something like that. And I'm like, what the you know what I mean? I'm like, that moment just went out to 3 people. And it's such a great moment. And that's why I have to keep releasing these songs and these comedies. And it's like, so I got to get back to this story, but I'm talking to this guy and I'll tell you more about this, but, well, let me get to it. But I told this gentleman that I'm about to explain about, and I said, I can't stop putting out the content because there is no content. But then I'm creating so much content without content. It just becomes content. And I either just let it go nowhere or I can't. I got to let it out there. So I keep dropping, Vigiloogie, all these crazy things that you have to actually watch in order to understand. You got to be able to take a moment and be like, you know what? This is actually what I need. I need something that's so off the freaking beaten track that I don't know where it's going. Mitchelson? Frostfavlavins? Like, what the hell? Whatever stupid word comes out of my mouth becomes the name of a new bit. We wrote a movie based on some stupidity that came out of my mouth. I said, BB poo poo. And all of a sudden we made a 1 hour and 37-minute movie. So the crazy thing to me is that we all need a breakaway, right? So that's why I'm going to keep doing this. I don't give a frig what the number is. And I love you all. Thank you so much for being here with me. But the point is, we should have 190 on. We should have 1,900. We should have 19,000 on right now. Because after 1,195 days in a row, we should have more people in the know. We should have more people aware that every night at 10 o'clock I'm here and I'm not going to stop showing up. And we're going to keep creating insanity. And that is something I hope you guys are excited about because I'm excited about it. Joanne, what do we got in the news today? We got any stories? What are we doing back there? Oh, you're wheezing. Sorry. When Joanne wheezes, you guys have to, just be ready for it because then you're dealing with an extra loud individual in the back who sounds like George Soros. In France, a nail-biting election as Macron's rival surges. Look at this freaking guy. Is that Napoleon? Mark-Polion? He's stealing my thunder, What is he doing? He's going to is he doing a Will Smith? Joanne?
Is Macron doing a Will Smith? About to slap his opponent?
Oh, you cannot talk to me like that. What is that? What does Macron sound like?
I'm going to slap you in the face.
He's something stupid like that. Let's see what he says over here. French President Emmanuel Macron. What's that, Joanne? No, Wheezy McGee. No, it's not macro like when you take photography. It's Macron. Macron? How are we saying? Can you do a Facebook check on that, Joanne, and see what pronounced like? What is it? Macron? French President Emmanuel Macron speaks during a media conference at the EU summit in Brussels Friday, October 22nd, 2021. One of the president's Joe Sleep Sofa Joe's toughest meetings at the G20 summit may be the leader of America's oldest ally. France, Joanne. Biden and French President Macron will huddle Friday, October 20. Joanne, is this 9 years old? Like, why are we talking about... They're talking about 2021. We're in 2022. You're giving me a crap story again, Joanne. From the market stall outside Paris that she's run for 40 years, Yvette Robert can see firsthand how soaring prices are weighing on France's presidential election and turning the first round of voting on Sunday into a nail-biter for incumbent President Emmanuel Macron. Shoppers increasingly worried about how to make ends meet are buying ever smaller quantities of Robert's neatly stacked fruits and vegetables, she says. And some of her clients no longer come at all to the market for its baguettes, cheeses, and other tasty offerings. Robert suspects that with fuel prices so high, some can no longer afford to take their vehicles to shop. People are scared with everything that's going up, with prices for fuel going up, she said Friday as campaigning concluded for Act 1 of the two-part French election drama, held against the backdrop of Russia's war on Ukraine, Joanne. Macron, a political centrist, for months looked like a shoo-in to become France's first president in 20 years to win a second term, but that scenario blurred in the campaigns. Joanne, it blurred in the campaign's closing stages. The pain of inflation and of pump food and energy prices that are hitting low-income households particularly hard subsequently roared back as dominant election themes. They could drive more voters Sunday into the arms of far-right leader Marine Le Pen. Is that how you say it, Joanne? Le Pen? Le Pen is a Mathieu than Le Sud. Macron's political nemesis. Macron, now 44, trounced Le Pen by a landslide to become France's youngest president in 2017. The win for the former banker, who, unlike Le Pen, is a fervent proponent of European collaboration, was seen as a victory against populist nationalist politics, coming in the wake of Donald J. Trump's election to the White House and Britain's vote to leave the European Union, both in 2016. In courting voters, Macron has economic successes to point to French economy and rebounding faster than expected from the battering of COVID-19. With a 2021 growth rate of 7%, the highest since 1969, unemployment is down to levels not seen since the 2008 financial crisis, when Russia invaded Ukraine on February 24th, sparking Europe's worst security crisis since World War II. Macron also got a polling bump with people rallying around the wartime leader. But the 53-year-old Le Pen is a now and more polished, formidable, savvy political foe as she makes her, she makes her third attempt to become France's first woman president. And she has campaigned particularly hard for months on cost of living concerns, capitalizing on the issue that pollsters say is foremost in voters' minds. Wheezy McGee, what do you think? Yeah, I think we're done too. I don't really care. He's a Macron. He's a choo-choo. I'm going to get the baguette. You are. Yeah, I know. So, guys, this is an interesting story I think we should share real quick. Giannis Antetokounmpo put his money in 50 banks until Bucks owner helped him invest. Milwaukee Bucks superstar Giannis Antetokounmpo had more banks than letters in his name before Avenue Capital Group founder Mark Lassery stepped in. Let's see what he did over there, Joanne. The National Basketball Association two-time most valuable player had accounts open at 50 different banks, with each of them holding up to the Federal Deposit Insurance corporate coverage limit. That shocked Lassery, who co-owns the Milwaukee team. I spent a lot of time with them explaining where they should invest, he said of his players on Thursday at the Bloomberg Wealth Summit in New York. I'm like, Giannis, you can't be having accounts at 50 different banks. Let me tell you something. If JP Morgan goes under, your little dinky banks are going under too, pal. Let me explain what you should do. You should buy U.S. Treasuries. You should buy this. Whatever somebody tell me what's going on. Antetokounmpo, 27, is nicknamed the Greek Freak because he was born in Greece and shows freakish athletic ability on the court. That makes sense, Joanne, with a Greek Freak name. The country faced a sovereign debt crisis in the early 2010s, with strained its banking system and left citizens worried their cash wasn't safe. In a wide-ranging discussion with David Rubenstein, co-founder and co-chairman of Carlyle Group, Lazary said when he discovered his $550 million bid for the Bucks was $100 million more than the next highest offer, he tried unsuccessfully to bring his lower. He isn't buying any more basketball franchises because they're too expensive, but he did purchase a priceless pickleball team for less than $1 million. The New York-based firm, which now has about $12 billion in assets, has increasingly moved into a private lending business due to the lack of distressed debt in the market. He expects to see more companies run into trouble in the next 2 to 3 years than the previous few. When people come to me, they have issues. They can't borrow or they have assets but can't cash flow. Lazary, 62, said he's also worried about the U.S. government's ability to pay off its $30 trillion in debt without deflating the value of the dollar. Oof. As rates move up because of the debt we have, the cost of services that debt is so expensive is going to be an issue. Lazary, who doesn't normally wear socks but chose to at a rainy day in New York, doesn't just dole out financial advice to Bucks players. He also meets them on the basketball court. He said he can win when they play horse, but only if they play by his rules, which probably means that they have to close their eyes and shoot backwards. That's his rules, and then I'll give him $100. Guys, what's next in the news, Joanne? What do we got over here? Meet the richest person in Taiwan who built an $11.7 billion fortune by making shoes for brands like Nike and Vans. It started all on a pig farm, Joanne. What's that, John? Oh, no, Joanne, not you. No, I said that I was talking about the Taiwan billionaire who started on a pig farm. You started a pig farm too? Whoa, I didn't know that Joanne was doing a pig farm deal, you know? What's that? No, Joanne, we're not laughing at you. Pig farmer. What do we call you, pig farmlet? You're like a piglet? Guys, we can't get a scroll on that. Joanne, give us a crap story. It happens almost every day. Next one on the list, Jason Segel left L.A. to live in a small farm town. I'm a happy guy. Actor Jason Segel left Hollywood to live in a small farm town, and he has no regrets. Although he's not retired, the Winning Times star realized he needed a break from the big city after How I Met Your Mother ended in 2014. I was like, oh, I can do whatever I want now. Segel, 42, explained on Thursday's Jimmy Kimmel Live, I'm going to go live in this town. I'm going to go live in this town, and I never left. Is that all it is? That's the whole story? Joanne, you give me a story that's the shortest story you've ever given me, Joanne. I gotta say, not bad, Joanne. So he's I don't know where the hell he went. He's in a farm town. He's doing a piglet thing with you, Joanne. Piggaroo. What? No, Joanne. The wheezing is what gave it away. Next story. Revived XFL hit with cease and desist by media company founded by Sue Bird. Others over similar logo. One day after revealing a new logo, the XFL is facing legal action from a media company owned by Sue Bird, Chloe Kim, Simone Manuel, and Alex Morgan. 4 people I freaking don't know. The athletes company Together announced Friday it had issued a legal notice to the XFL over the new logo, which it believes is a little too close to the company's own X logo. Together included a pair of screen grabs to show the similarities. Both logos feature a distinctive modern style X vertically split down the middle. However, Together's has one half white and the other half transparent, while the XFL says follow white. The transgraphic. Let's just freaking look at it. What do we got here? And let's see if you guys agree. Where is it? They said they had it in. I don't see it. What are we talking here? You do it and then you don't tell us about it? Let's see. Unveiling the trailer? No. Nobody wants to show us this thing? What the freaking heck? You gonna give me a story? You can't give me... How do they not show it to us? Like, what are we talking? All right, come on. You gotta be kidding me, Mike. You gotta be kidding me. Let's see. They have to show it, right? Where's this verticals? Let's see. Okay, so that's... all right, so that's it right there. Where are you at? Whatever. All right, it's not working for us. Screw it. XFL, you blow. A funny story though. I was actually the XFL. The first time they tried to make a run at it was just 2001. I didn't go to an XFL game, but I was down during like the hype up ceremonies with Opie and Anthony in New York City, and I'd gotten a couple of crazy things happen. I remember going to a couple of like clubs in New York City where they were hosting. It was like nuts. There's a guy named Psycho Mark. I used to do a dead-on impression of him. And so I had a chance a few times to get on that show, not personally as Mark Pyers, but as like Scarface. And as like, there was a show called the Sports Guys in the Morning. I actually went into the Sports Guys and played an owner of a cockfighting ring. And I did this bit where I was like, I ran a cockfighting ring and I did an accent. I did Scarface for them. I did a bunch of like tags at the end, like for Scarface, I did Christopher Walken, all these different things. I never made any money for it, but it was like I was a 21-year-old kid and I was like pumped, And I should have been exploring it at that time because obviously what I'm doing now, but I didn't explore it more. I mean, obviously I was doing the music thing. I was doing an acting thing at the time. I loved acting when I first got into this. When I was in college, that was my first love, was acting. Then it went to music. I forgot about, everything. We're doing it all here, but that was my first love, is to grab a script and actually read a script. And I played Romeo for a year, which was crazy. It was a crazy thing to play Romeo and do Shakespeare. And we did it in a round, which was so difficult, but so much fun. And it was a full year performance, but it was at a few different venues, and it kept coming back. Like we did it at 3 different venues. It was called back 2 other times. There was a college performance that went to 2 professional theaters after we did it at the college. And it was so much fun to do this. And then I stopped doing all theater. I couldn't stand it. You know why? I started to get so connected to the roles that I was playing. And I'd work with these different actors for like 4 months, and we'd all be learning our lines. Then we get through the 4 performances that you spend all that time getting ready for 4 days, whatever it was, 6, 7 days. You do those performances, and then you're like, all right, guys, see you later. Great doing the work with you. And you're like, and then you have this weird depression in a way. I remember being sad after each performance because I really get, just like I get into every show here, just like every time I write a song, like I get really into anything I do. And those, anytime I did a stage performance, it was something I really put myself into. But the crazy thing is it all started at 18 years old, guys. Until I was 18, I did nothing in the arts at all. I was a sports kid and didn't even know I could play guitar. I was 18 when I bought my first guitar. I was 18 when I did anything funny. I mean, I did some funny things, but I was always doing stupid, weird things when I was younger that were silly and very funny. But I didn't break out of my shell until I decided to say, F the world, I don't give a crap. Who cares what people think, guys, right? You got to go out there and explore self. Don't worry what anybody else thinks because they are not on the same journey as you. You are on a path to greatness. If you tell yourself you're on a path to greatness, you will find the greatest version of self. We all have a greatest version within ourselves, but we have to strive to find it. It's not going to just appear in the middle of the night. It's something you got to dig to find. Or you have to climb in order to find. Mostly it's a digging process, and it's because it's not outside, it's within. We're a world that is so stimulated by everything social media related to a point where we're comparing ourselves unintentionally. No matter what you're looking at, there's some sort of comparison being made. Oh, well, this person's doing this and I'm doing that. Why are they doing that? And why is this successful and why isn't that successful? And no matter what you think, you're thinking about this and it is affecting you in the wrong way. What you need to do is be thankful and have gratitude that everybody's on a path. And some people have found the success that they're going to find in life. Other people haven't. And whether it is that they haven't found it because they don't have what it takes, or whether it's they're not good enough to do something. But the point is, we all have to go out there and lead with our heart. And I think when you do that, that is your safest path towards the truth of existence. We stop listening to everybody else and we start listening to our heart. You got like these rules that were made, you know, when everybody's so different, but you got all these rules that were laid out when we're all so unique. It's like, how are there any rules at all? I mean, there should be no evil and there should be no murder and things like that. But how are there any other rules? Everybody's so different, but they want to control us. Everything's about control. And it's only going to get worse with this new crypto going to a CBDC. Is that what's called? CBDC, I think it is. Central bank digital currency. They're going to know every transaction. You go out and buy Twix. It's going to pop up on someone's screen. Like 1984, that was like 10 years ago. We're into something new now. This is scary. They're talking about engineering humans and like, you know, hacking human beings, Klaus Schwab's type of stuff. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you, it's a scary thing. That's why when I wrote this song, Sweeping You Up, I don't know if you saw did you guys see let me see if I can show it for you. Show it to you. Look at the artwork for this song. Look at that artwork. You got Klaus here. You got Dr. Weasel Frauci. You got Mark Zuckerberg. George Soros. And I'm Bill Gates. And he's there with the bugaboo in his hand. Look at that. And that's the artwork to the song, Sweeping Us Up. This is why they don't let anybody find my show, because I do stuff like that. Writing freaking songs about these morons, you know what I mean? Oh my goodness. I'll tell you what we need. We need this song right now. This song I've been popping on, man. I'll tell you. I want to take a break here from the news for a second. And then we're going to play a little something for you. I'm going to grab a bowl of cereal. 12:15. It needs to happen. So guys, this right here, I'm really into this tune. I've been playing it for you almost every day, I think. And there's a couple verses here for Mark Zuckerberg. I just think like at the end of the day, if you're going to debt and you're going to go out there and debt and you got a freaking Mark Zuckerberg on the side and you don't give him a verse, you know, you don't give him a verse, that's on you, you know. But this one, we're giving him a freaking verse. Guys, we may have to have an extra long show tonight. I mean, it's day 1,195 in a row. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I will tell you this. Right now, we're doing it. This song right here, it's called The End Days, I think. Yeah. Saturday night, going on down to the night into the day. I've been taking it all in, yeah, watching the world spin out of control. Talking about the end days. Oh, talking about the end days. Talking about the end days. Coming in the day, yeah. You can't stop now. Momentum bringing us down day by day. Oh, talking about the end days. It's like a cyclone bring us down on the ground, yeah. Oh, it's gonna be about the end days.
We're talking about the end days. Yeah. We're talking about the end days. They're coming round the corner. I don't know what, but I don't wanna be a gonna know. I'm hoping that someone will save the day. So I show up here and I try to play. I try to get into the moment. I'm going to own it. I'm going to find something. We're talking about the end days. Yep. You can't get phased. No, you got to get yourself prepped. Get yourself to the store while there's still stuff on the shelves. Cause you know it ain't gonna be there for long. Yeah, it's like the crazy people going out to get 60,000 rolls of toilet paper. You know you don't need that much. What are you wiping your butts 50,000 times a day? Look, share that toilet paper, what'd you say? And Jeff Bezos comes and says, look, we have plenty of toilet paper. I'm Jeff Bezos, and I'm a billionaire. And Bezos had to say, look, Amazon stock is up big. I'm paying my investors on top of their original investment. I'm Bezos. And Bezos did his thing all through the Plandamaroo. Guess who? Guess who else came out? That's right, Mark Zuckerchooch too. What? Yeah, my name is Zuckerchooch. We know, you're a Zuckerchooch. Yeah, we know. Everything you do, you like to suppress, don't you? Look, we said we'd have a song about suppression. I guess we got to give you a lesson. Mark Zuckerchooch. You think that everybody got to say what you want them to say, and if you don't, you can put them away. Yeah, you dig in a hole. Yeah, you're throwing them down. Yeah, you're covering it over and you're saying what I don't hear a sound. Even though, yeah, the people be screaming out loud. Talking about the end day. Mark Zuckerchooch. Yep, he's a commonaza. I don't know what we want to call him. He's a lotsa, and definitely he's not an American. No, I don't even know if he's human. Yo, I'm thinking that he may be a robot or maybe an alien. I don't really know. The case is still out, but I'll give you a shout. Oh, when I find out, yeah. I got a couple people looking, they're spying on him. You know he's got the people looking over his shoulder like he's trying to figure if he's getting older. No, he's looking like he's getting younger. He got a Benjamin Button thing going down. Yeah, I'm thinking definitely he's alien, cause he can't be doing that unless he found the next genetic, the connection to the past. Yeah, he's a reverse in time. Yeah, a genetic modification. Yeah, cause you know that would give him elation, cause he's original to the adrenochrome. Yeah, you know, and I can't say that word anywhere, cause then they're gonna pull you down. Yeah, 15 seconds of flat. Yeah, you can't get any better than that. We're talking about the end days. Talking about the end of the days.
How long was that? Couldn't have been very long. My kid's putting stuff in my shoes. What are we doing over here? What are we doing over here? So what do you guys think about that craziness? Well, I guess it's a lot longer than it seems. Jeez. 6 days later he shows up, right? Right? you know. I didn't get that bowl of cereal. I'm freaking unbelievable, you know what I mean? But I'm going to play you one more, so get that bowl of cereal. You know what I mean? You got to get a bowl of cereal. So how about this? This song right here, Bonnie was on, and she's like, hey, Mark, can you write a song about golf? I was like, heck yeah, I can write a song about golf, I guess. If you like golf, you know. And we are in the Masters deal. I haven't checked out how Tigers do. I have no idea. I have to go check. But I will tell you this right now. This song right here, day in, day out. This will be on the next album. A song about golf. Okay. When I was young, I didn't know anything about golf, no. I would see it on the TV. I would switch the channel ASAP. I don't know when the switch went off for me. Now that I'm thinking, I recall I was with my friend Billy, yeah, and his dad, and they brought me out to play golf. I was 16 years old. I didn't know how to do a thing but play baseball, so I swung like a maniac, yeah, tried to hit the ball as far as I could. I didn't know that you've got to have a touch. Yeah, you got to take out the wedge and try to pull it up. Years later, I would be walking all along down the course at the end of a slow day. I got a few minutes to spare, maybe a hole I could try to. Get that feel, yeah, let it all out with a swing. Well, there's the magic of golf, yeah, when you make contact, you connect, yes, you feel it, you let it out, you can break free for a moment. Iron my driver, my 7-iron, yeah, my wedgie. I put it all down, not picking it up again. Why? 'Cause this world's dying, and I'll keep trying to reach out to you each night. And if I'm here forever, and I don't swing a club again, it would be a shame, but there's work to be done. Yeah, work that needs to be done every day, and I'm not wasting my time no more. Who's got 4 or 5 hours to spend, yeah, walking around the forest now and then? It used to be good when I was younger, but when you got 3 kids and a wife and a house and mortgage, you got to get your priorities together, yeah. So I work, I come here and I rock out with you every night. 'Cause I won't ever play golf again if it means I'll leave you. No, 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 no. I miss the swing when I wait for the crowd we bring, with the light we bring, and
build together. Yeah, we're going to change the global weather. Yeah, society will change, and golf could never do that, no. So I keep soldiering on day in, day out. Let it play out, yeah, yeah. Let it play out. I'll keep showing up right here, day in, day out. Keep writing songs right in the moment, like we're doing right now. Day in, day out. We had nothing, got something now, yeah. Oh, day in, day out. Everybody asks for a song. Oh, why can't you play a golf song? Day in, day out. So we're here like we've been for 1,185 days in a row. Yeah, day in, day out. Yes, I never missed a night for you. No, they just get the show from you. Oh, get on board, yeah, day in, day out. Day in, day out. Day in, day out. I'm going to show up every day, day in, day out. Oh, day in, day out. 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 I'll keep showing up day in, day out.
You know, I was just thinking about something. Flat Earth, my brother. I'm going to play you a song I think you'll enjoy. So I wrote a song. It's on my album, one of the albums, album 6 or 7 from last year. I'm not really sure. But it's a really cool tune, and I'm going to tell you about how it came about. I was watching TikTok, and I came across this one clip, and it was talking about Hollow Earth. And I was like, what the frig is this? And so I'm looking at it. I'm like, well, I'll give it anything a benefit of doubt. I'm going to listen to it because there's a guarantee that as far as it goes, every single person you come across has something, a piece of knowledge they have within them that you do not know. I'm firmly going to believe that any person I ever meet in life can teach me something. Okay. So I'm looking at this and I say, what is this? And the concept was this story is a 1-minute TikTok. And within it, they talked about how it was in Antarctica and that there's these two like mountains, and like in between the mountains, there's this cave that goes down to Hollow Earth. And then they start telling this story about like mammoths and like people and different like living underground. So that night, while I'm noodling around, I come up with this, and it's called Down in Hollow Earth. And it go a little something like this. Let's see if I can find it. I wonder if I could type it in. It'd be easier maybe to find that way, but I mean, I could find it on YouTube, but I think I have it here. And it's always better to play it from my computer because then we're not going to have to deal with any, commercials or anything like that. Let's see. I'm looking for full downloads. Here we go. No. Mike. All right. Down in Hollow Earth. Let's see if we can find it. It's either right here or it's not. And if it isn't, we're just going to go the other way. Nope, it's just audio, so we're going to go the other way. All right, let me play it off of the... Actually, it's probably better that I play it from YouTube so you guys can get the link, because honestly, I don't know how many people watched it. We're going to find out right now. Like, we release so much music that when I put out a song, it just sits in the past. Nobody sees it because I'm just dropping. I'm dropping new stuff constantly, so... unless you are really liking my music and you want to go back and find it, most likely you're not going to. You're just not going to look back. And there's 170 songs from the CDs, but there's 300 plus songs in the playlist. Down in Hollow Earth. There we go. It's a little long, I'm realizing, but that's because I think I show you how this song came about. Because this is the thing I was talking about it, and then I wrote a song about it, so you're going to hear it. Check this out. This little moment here from the Renaissance Man show. Hope you enjoy it. I'm playing this specifically for my brother Flat Earth out there. Because I think
After saving with customized car insurance,
there's way too much going on about this planet that nobody understands. I saw another video the other day that someone said, oh, well, what about with the spaceships? Spaceships, obviously, they didn't get stopped by the firmament. And I'm like, okay, well, what if the freaking firmament's much further out? Like, what if it's, like, way out there? You know what I mean? Like, beyond the stars, or at least some of them. And we're just, like, encapsulated. I heard the best argument for why the world is flat. And it was, how can you explain gas pressure? And some guy asked that of, like, you know, this super genius who's like, oh, everybody's an idiot. And there's no question I can't answer. And then this dude just looked at him blank. He's like, this guy, he's a freaking fraud. He's making millions off the lies. And it's interesting because I think what it is it's a little different. Like, have you ever seen, imagine this. Imagine you have a top, you know, and then it's like a freaking, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like we're living underneath it. You know what I mean? Like, we're living on top, you know? And then, like, you go, and then there's an underneath. So theoretically, yeah, you could dig down low enough to go down through the bottom. That's what I think, you know? Like, why the frig? Like, a plane doesn't go like this. It goes like this for 12 freaking hours, and then you're in China. How can you explain that? How can you explain how the plane's not doing this for 12 hours? It's doing this for 12 hours. Going to California, it doesn't do this for 6 hours or for 4 hours, whatever it is. Just freaking does this. So what's kind of crazy about it is, I don't even know if it's that specifically, but I think it's definitely not what they tell us it is. Like, nothing, it doesn't even make sense. Could be an upside down pyramid too. Yeah, that's kind of what I see it, S-Coop. Like, I was envisioning like points at the bottom where it's just like, it looks like a piece of, like, out of a cartoon almost, where it's like this top with like this, you know, pierced bottom, you know, where it looks like a bottom of a crown for a tooth or something. You know what I mean? Like, I see it being like we're stuck in the air and we're just doing this thing and we're in a ball. It's just not the way they explain it, that like 60 miles up there's a ball. No. Or there's, you know what I mean? That's where the top is. I think it's so far up there that you're not going to hit it. You know, a rocket's not going to hit it, you know? And I don't know. I've got a friend who's a super genius, and he works for a company called, what's it called? One of the big guys that works for the government. Like, they build the mirrors for the telescopes and stuff. He works for like companies like NASA. But it's interesting. When I go bowling with him, and I used to say, you don't want to work at NASA? And he was always like, eh. And I think the reason is because he knows it's a freaking fraud. He wants to do real science. And so, but at the same point, I don't know, because he's doing stuff with the mirrors to take, pick different, to get all the glass that's going into these, you know, for that one, the James Webb, that telescope, I'm guaranteeing that my friend had a huge part of that. I bet you they did all the glass for it. I should actually send him a message. Did you have your hand in the James Webb thing? I bet you say, yep, we did the whole thing. This dude's real deal. I actually had to answer questions with, like, they had an FBI agent. I had to meet and sit down and have a coffee with this guy because they ask questions like, you know, to make sure he's not, you know, talking about government secrets. It's like, that's serious. You know what I mean? Like, they're in connection. And so at the end of the day, I mentioned to him how many of our subscribers believe that, you know, the world's flat, And I said, I had questions. I said, I'd like to ask you questions. He's like, well, we'll have a conversation one night, when we go bowling, next time we go bowling. And usually when I go bowling with him, I'll ask him questions about aliens because I know he knows things he's not allowed to talk to me about. So he'll just go yes or no, or he'll just answer like, matter of factly. Like I'll ask him a question and he'll go, well, it would be kind of ignorant to think otherwise, and like he'll say stuff like that. And so that leads me to the, I'm on the right path or whatever. But sometimes he'll just say, look, if I did know, I couldn't say anything. Like, you know what I mean? He'll just like leave me out there sometimes. But I'll say things to him like that. Like I'll say like, it would be ignorant to think we're the only thing that's out there in this entire universe of whatever that is out in the universe, but we're the only things. Now, the only way that would make sense in a way is if we were on a flat earth, that we were the only things, you know what I mean? Like in a way, because if you're sitting on some flat plane and there is nothing out there, it's just you're inside some bowl in a weird way. Well, then how did all those people come through? That is the one question I do have, because you have these freaking aliens flying all over the place. Unless, like I said, this is why our minds are so feeble. This firmament, if we want to, I think this firmament could be so far out there, and we're contained within gas within this whole space, whatever. But it could be so far out there that there's no way for a human being to ever reach it. And that's the point of it. But it's out there. You know what I mean? Like it could be beyond the moon. It could be beyond whatever. And we're never reaching it, but it's still encapsulated within it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like there's more weight to something like that than that we're traveling and following the sun at, 1,000 miles an hour, and that sun is moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour or something stupid like that. And everything else is going like this as a cyclone around it. Like that's what's going really. And we feel nothing because we're moving at the same speed like when you're in your car. Okay. Well, I have to understand one thing. Why, when I put my drone up in the sky, do I stay directly below it? I can leave it right up there for 30 minutes. And I'm still sitting in the same exact space. And that drone's still right above me. Shouldn't it theoretically be sitting while I'm moving? You know what I mean? Like, well, give me my drone. Let me bring it with me. Like, I don't understand. No, the atmosphere moves with the 1,000 miles an hour. It does? So the atmosphere is moving 1,000 miles an hour too? And I get cross breeze at 2 miles an hour? How is a plane getting anywhere if they're traveling against 1,000 miles an hour of rotation? And you're only going 450 miles an hour. Carry the 3. -1. These are the questions. I don't know. Probably I'm saying stupid stuff. To someone who's like totally a science nerd and understands it, they're probably like, man, Mark's such an idiot right now for saying these things. These are the questions I have. These are the questions I have. Why, how come and again, if we're talking about 25,000 square miles is that what it is? What the planet is? 25,000 square miles? That doesn't even sound like it makes sense. Somebody explain that to me. Is it 25,000? No. How does that even freaking make sense when there's millions of miles of land, there's millions of acres of land, but there's only 25,000 miles of earth? Like what? That's not right, is it? 25,000 square miles, Mark. That means that I don't give a crap. That seems like it's not a real number. Seems like a stupid figure. There's two realities. Either we're on a globe, but that globe is much bigger than they've told us it really is. You know what I'm saying? It is so big that we're only living on the top. You know what I mean? That's how big it is. And they're telling us, oh, it's only when it's friggin' massive. That's what I think it really is. Like we're probably living on the top of something and there is other stuff. We're not freaking flying around it. You're not going to China in a circle. No, I'm sorry. Count, bro, count. So yeah, I don't really understand the whole concept of doing a circle when you're going straight. Don't understand
how I don't understand how water is staying to, water just happens to maintain its, position underneath the planet. It doesn't just freaking fall off. But everywhere else, waterfalls exist. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to figure it all out. Doesn't make sense, There's a lot of land behind the ice wall. Yeah. Well, that's what I think too. Is if there's an end somewhere and you have to then somehow scale that wall to get over to the other side, that's the extraterrestrial space, and that would make sense to me. Like, what would really make sense to me, and what would really blow everybody's minds, if it was an unending amount of walls and then more land and then walls and then more land. Like, literally, there's no end to it. That's almost what the reality is, probably. Like, there's always going to be more land. There's no end to the more land. Nobody will ever find an end. There will never be one final wall. It just keeps going. And that's why I think we're on something much bigger than they tell us. And they show us what one side of it looks like, and they fill it out or whatever. I don't know how they're doing it or whatever they're doing, but there's something going on here. And it probably has a, I don't know. I also question, like, what would be the reason for the big lie, though? You know what I mean? Like, why are they lying about it? Is it really to keep people out of Antarctica because there's aliens there? Like, what would be the reason to keep the lie and for the whole world to work together to keep people from Australia, from Antarctica? Like, there's something more to everything in every subject that has to do with our globe. If you want to call it whatever you want to call it. Vigilugi would say it's a freaking piece of land. And that's it. A lot of water. Vigilug. I can also see some crazy thing where if you just go in a certain direction, like, I don't know, you're northeast, west, south, whatever. But if you go in a certain direction, there is a way out. There is a way to get to the next, and then to the next, and the next. It's like a puzzle. You know what I mean? You have to figure out how to freaking get out. Remember the old, you'd have the challenge where you had to start at the top, get down to the bottom. It's a freaking thing called a maze. You got that little maze going, and that's what this is. There's a maze to the next. I don't know. Could be pretty cool if there was. Like, that would be such an awesome movie. Why haven't we done a movie like that yet? The Matrix controls are in Antarctica. That could be. I mean, there's a lot that could be going on here. I definitely think it's most likely something that we're not being told. I don't think that they are being honest. Like, even DeGrasse Tyson, when I hear him speak about it, he's like, you're not seeing any sort of curve at 2 millimeters above this big, huge globe. And I'm like, how big is the freaking globe? Let's just see real quick. Hey, Siri, how big is the Earth?
Earth has an area of 196,936,994 square miles.
Oh, okay. So it's 196,936,994 square miles. I don't know where the hell I got 25,000 from. Who the hell freaking said 25,000? Earth is the third planet from the sun and the only astronomical object known to harbor life. While large amounts of water can be found throughout the solar system, the only Earth sustains liquid surface water. About 70% of the Earth's surface is made up of the ocean, dwarfing Earth's polar ice, lakes, and rivers. The remaining 29% of the Earth's surface is land, consisting of continents and islands. As of 2022, there's 7.9 billion people. They call this the habitable zone. circumstellar habitable zone. In astronomy and astrobiology, the circumstellar habitable zone, or simply the habitable zone, is the range of orbits around the star within which a planetary surface can support liquid water given sufficient atmospheric pressure. Atmospheric pressure. The bounds of the CHZ are based on Earth's position in the solar system. Can I ask you, how do you get atmospheric pressure without an enclosure? Anybody? How do you get atmospheric pressure without being within an enclosed space to create the pressure? Where's the pressure building? For you to have pressure, there has to be an outside layer, correct? Pressure just doesn't exist, does it? Somebody tell me. They claim with gravity. Really? Yardbirds, they just say it's just gravity? That gravity keeps the pressure in? What the frig? Vapor canopy fishbowl. How do you... Somebody tell me. So, okay, let's just get this right. The pressure of this... At this atmospheric pressure that's built up over here, right? Given sufficient atmospheric pressure. I don't know, guys. To me, it seems a little weird. It seems like you need to be able to keep it within something enclosed. Like you take a can and you shake that freaking can up, you got pressure. There's no pressure here. You know what I mean? I don't feel any pressure. There's no pressure. This is all open. There's no way you could tell me that this is what's holding in all of this. You know what I mean? Not happening. All right, I got to put something on real quick. This is a track called Bang Biggity Boo is what it's called. It's not really called that. I'm not sure what it is. Let's see. I'm going to put it on for you. Ready? This right here is Popping It On. All right, we didn't listen to this yet. Let me put this on for you. Actually, we may have. I'm going to put this on. This is one of our newest songs. It's called Down in the Caribbean. And I hope you enjoy it. Here we go. Getting down.
Sitting on the dock now, yeah. I rented a fishing rod, giving that my shot now. Yeah, I'm gonna try to catch myself a swordfish. I don't know, gonna make a wish under the star. I've been sitting in this same position for 8 hours and none yet. Not even a bite, even from a guppy or a great white. I don't know, I think I'm about to quit. Yeah, I'm gonna go home and get some halibut. Yeah, I'll get it from the store. Who needs to try to catch it anyway? You know I'm in the Caribbean. They got the greatest food. Gonna pick it up at DoorDash. Gonna get it home. Gonna throw some of that ketchup on the side, don't you know? Yeah, cause halibut got a little bit and he's getting lit set, yeah. Down in the Caribbean. Oh, down in the Caribbean. It's the lips, so yeah, the Caribbean sound. The ladies got the legs, all the guys got their eyes on the head. Just waiting for a moment to say, hey, hey, hey. With the dancing on the dance floor, got their hips moving back and forth, yeah. Down in the Caribbean. Oh, palm trees, oh, they're swaying all around me. Oh, ladies there on the dance floor, got the lays on, yeah, got them hips shifting back and forth, yeah. Yeah, them drinks flowing, passing around, yeah. Down in the Caribbean. Down in the Caribbean, yeah, yeah, yeah. Down in the Caribbean. I can hear the calypso music in the air. Got the lays and do the sway lips to getting down, yeah. I can even feel the sun rays shining down late at night. Hey, it's so warm all the time. Down in the Caribbean, yeah, yeah, yeah. Sunrise and the sunset, yeah, you're sitting all day there. Go jumping in the water when you're getting too hot. Yeah, you need to get wet. Yeah, you gotta refresh yourself here. Down in the Caribbean, yeah, yeah, yeah. Down in the Caribbean, yeah. Down in the Caribbean.
Oof, down in the Caribbean. That is a vibe right there, fam and friends. Did I see my brother Cog in the house? There he is, my brother. So good to see you. Been way too long, my friend. We have, I don't even know how many songs have been released since Cog was here, pieces of content, but hopefully we'll be able to catch up on some of it. Especially, guys, we just dropped a new Donald J. Trump show, which I can't believe I brought him back. I'm a freaking idiot. You know what I mean? Like, when are you going to give up on the politics and just leave it behind? So true. You know, like it's beating a dead horse. It doesn't seem to get us anywhere, but Frost for Vlavin is a thing. And without it, you know. So one thing that Cog missed, he hasn't been around to see, is we have the news every day. And we do 7-8 stories. And this is one of the stories that we did just recently. And what's cool about our stories is I don't like doing paper live in the moment. So I take a topic. I don't know what the heck the story is going to say. I read it live, and things like this happen.
Thank you for coming to Lowe's. Sit back and relax. Enjoy the show.
Ukraine has rejected a Russian offer to allow 2 safe corridors out of the besieged city of Mariupol in exchange for Ukrainian fighters laying down their arms. The Russian news agency TASS, Joanne, I don't know what TASS stands for, but it must be something long if they just went right to the TASS instead of explaining it. Sometimes they'll say TASS, but they'll be like, the technologically arranged security system or whatever, you know. They didn't do that here. They just went right to the TASS. So the news agency TASS referred to or reported the offer, citing Colonel Journal Joe, can you do this right, Joanne? I need it. Give me a TASS. And then now I'm into the middle of it, citing Colonel General Mikhail Mizintsev. That was actually pretty good, Joanne. I did Mizintsev, and that was pretty much exactly what I think it is. He's the head of the Russian National Defense Control Center. And he said residents of the southern port city were given until 5 a.m. Monday to respond. Mizintsev, Joanne, now we're just making up stuff, right? That's not his name. Didn't have to wait for that long for an answer. Ukrainian Deputy Prime Minister Irina Vereshchev. What the frick? Can we get off with all these names here? How about we just say like the Ukrainian Deputy Prime Minister? Can we do that? Ukrainian Deputy Prime Minister rejected the idea outright. There could be no talk of any surrender. Laying down of arms. We have already informed the Russian side about this, said the news outlet Ukrainian Pravda. I wrote, instead of wasting the time on 8 pages of letters, just open the corridor. They did it with the Z. They see a Z. Sometimes they do that when they're in Ukraine. The Z. Well, just open the door. You know, it's not really this if you're more in the, upper echelon of Ukraine. You're talking about like the royalty. You want to go royalty Ukraine? You throw the Z in there when you say things. Opens the door. You got a Frenchie. You're a Frenchie Ukrainian. You're a Fruit-Ukrainian. That's what sometimes they call you, a Fruit-Ukrainian if you're a French Fruit-Ukrainian. It depends if you throw the Z in there. There's sometimes they'll throw like conmen. There's a couple conmen in Ukrainian that were thrown in the Z in order to get like, oh wow, are you part of the royal family? I noticed the way you said open the door instead of open the door. And like, are you part of the, the Froschglavaren revolution? When the Froschglavens came in and they stepped all over everybody and they're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm so nervous because of the Froschglavens. They were such a bad people, really. Yeah. If you look them up, like, hold on. Froschglaven. Yeah, right there. Terrible people. It says it. Terrible people, the Froschglavens. They beat people to submission. And then they would kill them after they saw him cry, and they were pain, and they said, "No, please, just let me live. I have a family." And that was where the whole thing started with, "I have a family. Don't." And like the victims of abuse again, it got back to Amber Heard. No, please, I don't. And Prosper-Blavins. They created I'd say a movement, of bad people. Where you just got this, like, I guess it's a deep-seated belief structure, that's ingrained in the Frostwolf-Glaven, lineage. And if you start to trace that lineage, and then you realize that is the reason that the world is so messed up right now is because of the Frostwolf-Glavens. Everybody's like, no, it's the elites. It's Soros. We know Soros has some stuff to do besides playing Jabba the Hutt and, Senator Palpatine. But Frostwolf-Glavens were the ones who really, did the worst of it, and some people, I've heard a lot of people like the Merovingians. Oh yeah. No, I'm sorry. You think the Merovingians? No, I'm sorry. That's nothing like compared to the Frostwolf-Glavens. They were like the real deal back in the day. And they were taking on the Bible. Oh, Joanne, you remember that, right? Yeah. Joanne was there for that. We were there for a seminar.
And they were talking all about the Frostlovens and that they were one of the books taken out. Had a complete book in the Bible, and it was taken out, just because of how impactful the Frostloven, lineage was to the history of time, And they were fearing that maybe people would want to follow the Frostlovens instead of Jesus, and that was a scary thing at the time. So they were like, we got to pull this out of the books. Don't even let people read about the Frostlovens because those people are the real deal. They were like, oh my goodness, Jesus saved everybody's souls. Though. He took everybody's sins, saved everybody, took their sins away. Frostlovens, though, there's a pull. There's an appeal. And that one too, people are like, well, maybe they will too. They got into a weird thing where they're like, well, maybe the Frostlovens will just forgive us of our sins. Instead of dying for our sins, they'll maybe just forgive us of our sins. That was a weird time in history. We had to try to explain to them. No, one is willing to give his life up for your sins. The other one, you're questioning, maybe they have a kindness in their heart in order to forgive you for your sins. Frostlovens. Goodness,
After saving with customized car insurance from Liberty Mutual, I customize everything. Like Marco's backpack.
Drinking water before bed burns 46 pounds in 2 weeks. If you are struggling to lose weight and you're over 25, then you need to hear.
I'm not sure when they changed the name because at a certain time they cut it down to Frost, but before that, Frostlovlen was really a name. If you went out and you just mentioned the name Frostlovlen when you went into like a store, and you're like, oh, I forgot my wallet. Oh goodness! Like, oh, okay. Well, why don't you give us your name, sir, and we can call your place and verify who you are and see if you, or we can call your bank and you could speak to them just based on your information, see if there's something that they could put a credit towards your purchase, based on who you are, and like, oh yeah, no, my name is Marius Frostlovlen. Oh, excuse me, did you say Frostlovlen? Yes, that's right, Frostlovlen. Yeah, here, take the store. Whole store. I know, you go ahead. You're good for it. When Marius came in that day and got a store for free, he just walked right in and got it because he's Frostlovlen. And the guy was like, I'll sign over the deed. That was a day. That was a day to be the Frostlovlen. Like it started to be like third person. You're out with friends, Guy tries to grab the last beer. What are you doing? You don't take the last beer from Frostlovlen. What? Frostlovlen believes that we're going to have a really tough one with this war, I was just kind of like throwing it off the wall with Frostlovlen, And that's the thing. Sometimes when you're down it and Frostlovlen comes down, he's hanging out. It's just a weird thing when you're sitting here and Frostlovlen just becomes a thing. Frostlovlen actually went over to Mitchelson's to get himself a Mitch. It's a Thursday. He just happened to be driving by. And old Frosty was like, I think I can use a Mitch. I'm thinking, I'm noticing the Friar Tuck situation going on. So Thursdays, there's a discount. If I go in and I give them, I'm here for the Mitch, then they're going to set me up. Now, Frostlovlen never knew that when you go, there's a line on Thursdays. That's something you only find out when you go down and get a Mitch, So old Frosty got in line there. He had a chance to see Magoo head up in the front there. That head just keeps getting worse. He's like, he came back from the dead, by the way. This is a whole other story now of him. He's back, They've been tucking, new layers of hair on top of layer of hair for him, It's starting to look like a dread, where it's starting to buckle up together. You can't even wash that thing anymore, But again, he's got that weird bulimia thing where he thinks that he doesn't have any hair. He's like, oh, my hair's going. I need to get it. I got a Friar Tuck. No, you don't. You've been getting freaking Mitches every week for the last 2 years, That's 104 Mitches, Starts falling over when the wind blows. No good. You should have gone once. He's the best in the biz. Mitchelson's the best in the biz. All you got to do is go once and get a Mitch. You put it on that nog of yours. You're out there impressing people, you know. Whew. That poor guy, you know. Imagine going to food stores and seeing that thing walking around the room. Because food stores usually got a really high ceiling. You're not walking in some 8-foot ceiling. It's like a good 12 to 15 feet in there, you know. That dude's walking around like Marge Simpson. You know? What are we doing?
Oh, me.
What are we doing? I got freaking Marge in there. She's doing it now. And it was weird too because, you know, his hair was starting to turn purple in a weird way because there was no circulation anymore. By the time you got 40 or 50 Mitches in on that freaking nog of his, and he starts popping up, he's looking more like Dan Aykroyd, you know, in Coneheads as he keeps rising up higher and higher, going for Guinness. He thought that maybe if I just was, you know, you look at me and I'm 8'9", I could beat Dr. Wayne Doppler, but no. They come and push your hair down and make sure that they touch skin. You got to make sure it's skin to ground, okay? Not how hair you're. No, I'm sorry. There's plenty of people who could just stick their hair up with gel and they'd be much taller than Dr. Wayne Doppler. But as tall can be, there's nobody taller than Dr. Wayne Doppler.
Baron Trump, he's right on the tail. Yeah, winning big league. I got a son, he's gonna win big league. Gonna be the tallest man in history, Baron Trump.
He's kind of getting close. I think he's 6'9" right now. 7'4". What is he, Joanne? Can you check it out for me? Joanne, just wheezing, you know. So guys, apparently in Mariupol, they may have some concentration camps coming up, and that's not a good thing. And this is what I think is interesting. This is us. We say, oh, we're worried because they may open up concentration camps. They've been doing that here in America for a while, guys. They thought they'd have to go that way here during the Bugaboo situation that they were pushing on everybody. Let's quickly run through this. Russia continues to genocide the Ukrainian people and civilians of Mariupol, the Post said. Every war criminal will answer for his crimes against humanity, against the people of Mariupol. The assault on Mariupol prompted the local police officer, in a video verified by the Associated Press, to appeal for help from President Joe Sleepy Poopy Pants Biden and French President Emmanuel Macron. As well as, you know, the Frostlavlavans, you know, if you can get them involved, you're going to be saved at the end of the day. In fact, that's where they should have gone first. Why are they appealing to Sleepy Poopy Pants? He's already sleeping. French President Emmanuel Macron, he doesn't give a crap. You got to go to Frostlavlavan if you want to get anything done in this world. It's the Merovingians. Then it's your Frostlavlavan in it. You know, that top of the line is Frostlavlavan. You know, you can't get any better than it. There's nothing better. You got God and Jesus are the same thing. And then Frostlavlavan, gatekeeper. Some people call the Frostlavlavans the gatekeepers to this timeline. And if you want access to the timeline, you need to pay respect to the Frostlavlavan. This just goes without saying, really. You know, the fact that I'm here trying to explain to you how to gain and give respect to a Frostlavlavan, it just baffles me, really. What's that? No, I know, Joanne. I could probably do 18 more minutes on this one. Oh, I love how Joanne just adds to the show. You know, like, it happens. I have something here for Cog. This is something, it's called Wordplay Anyone, and I forget what I did this one on because we do a lot of wordplay here, but this is one of my wordplay bits. Let's see what it is. Give it a comment and a like. There's the link.
Enjoy the show.
Guys, what do we have in the news today, Joanne? Anything good? What did you pull today, Joanne? Joanne pulls all the stories, and she's, you know, wheezing at the time. Next, first story. Joanne, I can't go to a next story when it's the first story. Okay. She said that was the teleprompter. It says it on the top. Next story. You know, Joanne, when you started off on a sour note, the Renaissance fam notices. The Renaissance fam starts to say, you know, and those are words right there. They come through as words when they look that way at the screen. First story of the day, Joanne. Scientists try to solve mystery of 300-year-old mummified mermaid. Joanne, we found your family members. You got because you got that weird, you know, tail thing going on. Are you related? You know, you got a tail. They got freaking, you know, mermaid. They got a fin. You got a mermaid fin and you got a tail. Together, you guys are probably from the same genealogy. I'm just saying, we're going to do a 23andMe. We got you, found out your father's George Soros. We conned him in. You beinged him over the head. We took a hair, 23andMe in it. Found it out. Maury Povich, you are the father. That was a good one. But guys, when you're dealing with a friggin' mermaid, 3,000-year-old mermaid that somebody was, let's just see what we got over here. Ready? They had this somewhere, obviously. Japanese scientists have started investigating mysterious mermaid mummy that has long been an object of worship at a temple in Akayama Prefecture. Joanne, I freaking nailed it. You know, sometimes when you're challenged with a name like Akayama Prefecture, you know, and you just do it, so they pay you the big bucks. What's that? No, I know, Joanne, you're the only one who gets paid something here. Doll hairs. A team of researchers from the Karayeshi... Joanne, stop it with the friggin' doll hair envelopes. A researcher team... Now I gotta go reverse it, Joanne? What are you kidding me? A team of researchers from the Karashiki University of Science and the Arts are conducting scientific analysis of the mummified remains of a mysterious icon to determine what they are actually composed of. The mermaid mummy, which measures around 1 foot, Joanne, has earned its name for having an upper body that appears to be human and a lower body that looks like a fishtail. The 300-year-old mummy, which has retained its nails, teeth, and hair over the years, has also maintained the eerie expression of a screaming child. Kazun Koda, jeez, Joanne. Kozen Koida, the chief priest at Enjuin Temple in the city of Asakuchi. Joanne! The Asakuchi! You gotta go down, dude, you're Asakuchi! Huh, you gotta be kidding me. We keep running into stuff like this. So hold on, I'm on it. So you telling me you have a choice between the Asakuchi. You have to figure out which one you want, you know? Yeah, Asakuchi. I'm not sure. I'm going to do Asakuchi. Hey, I'm going to be one or the other. I may go double decker on it. I'm Asakuchiing it. You know what I mean? Like, you're there thinking, I'm an Assy. I'm going an Assy. I'm an Assy guy. Yeah, maybe. Somebody has a Coochie guy over there. I'm doing Asakuchi. I'm doing a double decker. When you got an Asakuchi, Joanne back there, no one wants to go near that Asakuchi. I'm just saying, you know, she's there dealing with Asakuchi. And, you know, it's a temple. And when she's just, you know, you have to make sure you keep your temple clean. You know, you want to make sure when you have guests, you've got visitors to the temple, the Asakuchi, and they're not sure which one they're going to visit today. They may go to the Asa, they may go to the Kuchi. I'm just not really sure where they're going to be. But when they go there, if you're not ready with a clean temple, you know, it could be a very, very, you know, difficult day to, I guess you would say, navigate. Perhaps navigate to the Asakuchi, because sometimes, you know, you're just not sure. So look, at the end of the day, this is what happens when you're out there and somebody tells you that they, you know, they're down with the Asakuchi. They're just like, well, you're just not sure which one, you know. Which one did you want, though? Like, it's a difficult thing about courting. You know, you're courting, you're having that date, you're doing it, you're having like the pizza, you know, you're having that, oh, I love this pizza. It's so good. I love having this time with you. That's great. So what are you into? Asakuchi. Which one? What? What are you doing? Asakuchi. I mean, you know, when you're trying to figure it out, all you're looking for is a little advice. That guy over there is an Asa guy. I know. He told me. I'm like, which one are you into? Over there? Totally into the cooch. Yeah, but like, you can't I guess you can't go for both when you're doing Asakuchi. It's like it's one or another, you know. And Kuzen, hey Joanne, with Kuzen, did you know, was he an Asakuchi guy? What did he do?
Good grammar and spelling are important, but if you want to write essays that inspire, messages that forge brighter connections,
you know, sometimes when you're there and you're admiring the Asakuchi, you know, you're just like, it's good looking, you know, that's a good looking Asakuchi, like double deckering it. They took the artifact from the wooden box where it had been stored inside the school's veterinary hospital for an examination on February 2nd. No, Joanne, I know I could have done another 9 minutes on that. We have worshipped it, hoping that it would have alleviated the corona pooper pandemaroo, even if only slightly. The head priest was quoted by Asahi Shimbun saying, I hope the research project can leave scientific records for future generations. According to Koida, the mummy had been put on display for public viewing about 40 years ago, but it was recently stored in a fireproof safe so it wouldn't deteriorate the Asakuchi. The note inside the box claims that the mysterious creature was caught in a fishing net on the coast of Tosa Province between 1736 and 1741, Joanne, how can you believe that? We're talking about almost 300 years ago. The mummy was passed on to other owners after the turn of the Meiji era. That's from 1868 to 1912, Joanne, in case you didn't know that. Like you can't just pull that up, Dewey Decimal System. There it is. That's right. It's, you know, it's the Meiji era. You know, whatever. And ended up being acquired by the Enjuin Temple. You know, we're talking about the Asakuchi. You know, you got an Asakuchi, you're like one or the other or both. Some people are into both. Some people are one. They're like, I'm really into the Asa, I'm really into the Kuchi. You know, you know, some people are like, I'm admiring both. You know, it just depends on what kind of guy you are or girl. You know, look, 2022. The remains are to be studied from a variety of academic perspectives. Harashiri, Joanne, Hiroshi Kanashita, a 54-year-old board member of the Okayama Folklore Society, will study the mummy for a viewpoint of folklore studies, while Takafumi Kato, a 54-year-old paleontology professor, will conduct morphology analysis on the upper body of the artifact. Joanne, did you know about Takafumi and his abilities to do that as a paleontology professor? Like when you're there and you're watching him doing the paleontology professoring and he's looking around it and he's being a Takafumi sometimes, you're like, dude, don't be a freaking Takafumi to me. You know what I mean? You could do it when you're in a bad mood. You can be a Takafumi to someone. I get it. But like, don't be a Takafumi to me. Just like walking down the street and you're just being a Takafumi. Like then we have a problem. I'm just letting you know now. Yeah, you have to know what you're getting into, Renaissance Man Show. Guys, Takafumi. Meanwhile, an associate professor that specializes in ichthyology. What is, Joanne, what's ichthyology? Ichthyology. Joanne, what's ichthyology? They'll study the fish's lower body, and an associate professor with expert. Did you Google it? You know, Joanne, when I ask you what, you know, ichthyology is, and you're like, and then you don't freaking look it up, I'm here. I'm doing the story. And you're there doing a Weezer? You can't go and you're just opening and closing that cabinet, you know, the file cabinet. Zabrowski left 20 minutes ago, and you're still freaking doing the file cabinet, you know? I was like, what are we dealing with here? No, Joanne, you're fine. It doesn't sound like your wheeze is at a freaking like 10. It's like maybe an 8 right now. The researchers are set to release their findings in the fall of this year. So, guys, that was really a poor way to end it, Joanne. You got in the way with your wheeze. You know, I'm doing a story, killing it. We're telling it. Fukuyami, what was his name again? Fukushima? Takafumi? We had a Takafumi connection going. Joanne comes in with a wheeze. All of a sudden, the researchers are set to release their findings in fall of this year. What the frickin' heck, Joanne? You couldn't wait? One more line? You got the teleprompter. You know one more line from finishing. You can't just wait and just come and disrupt the show? Oh, you know, this is what I'm talking about, guys. I'm here trying to do it. She's back there doing a weezeroo. Oh, goodness. Joanne, what do we have next? Oh, thank you, Joanne. Next story on the list. You really are the worst, though, Joanne. Just so you know, I got to lift her up and then knock her right the friggin' back down. You know what I'm saying? Guys, what we're dealing with now, this is some crazy stuff. I don't even know what the hell this is. This story didn't work. Joanne, you pulled a crap story again. One more strike against Joanne. You know? Oh, I freaking love that. Why is there no track at the end? There should be something popping in that tells you there's another thing to play. I'll have to flip that over because that is such a good bit. I can't believe I don't play that bit more often. I had an idea while in the middle of watching that. I think I'm going to make a movie of all of the best news stories and call it like it's going to be a news movie. And then I have to make a couple of cutscenes where I'm not doing the news, you know what I mean? Maybe in a different background without the microphone, and I'm doing a couple of funny scenes and then intersplicing those with the best news stories. Because we have the Mitchelson stuff, we have the Frost of Lavin, we have so many different news stories that we've done. I think that could make a cool movie if it was the concept was the news of the day. You know, we do the Miriapool thing. I don't know. I have a thought that this could be a movie, just putting all these together and then creating something out of it. So I may do that. Because that bit, all of these bits need to be seen, I think, and they're all separate, but they should come together. Like, for example, oh man, both of these are so good, but I created a t-shirt that I'd love for you guys to pick up because honestly, I'm going to cancel the Shopify if I don't sell any t-shirts. And it's such a cool t-shirt. Check this out. I'm going to give you the link. I'm going to show it to you here too. Okay, so if you go there, you could pick up a t-shirt. And like I said, you only have to see it the first time you put it on. It's everybody else that has to look at it while you walk around and wear it. Okay, let me show it to you real quick.
Real cowboys customize and save with Liberty Mutual.
Hey, Tex, can someone else get a turn?
I don't like doing paperwork, and I don't like sitting in the office.
All right, so this right here is what I created. So the concept is this. Jen Psaki is full of crappy. You're going to see the bit where this came about. But if you see in the corner here, you are not a horse, you are not a cow. Seriously, y'all, stop it. You're a guinea pig. And so basically, that is what I created about 6 months ago when they came up with this stupid meme. I was like, okay, yeah, you're not a cow, you're not a horse, you're a freaking guinea pig. So I made this, and that's part of the gag. This right here is our t-shirt. This is called the Leaving a Psaki of Crappy on Every American Doorstep by Menon. And on the back, it's got them in all different colors, guys. On the back, we have, let me circle back with a lit Psaki of Crappy by Menon. Why are we not all wearing this shirt and just telling people to go pound sand? Oh, leaving a Psaki of Crappy on every American doorstep. Tell me that should not go viral. That shirt should be freaking everywhere. I think I have to pay for ad. I need someone to tell me how to advertise that because that freaking shirt right there rocks. Right? Tell me that shirt doesn't freaking rock right there. Unreal. One more time just to see the back. I got to see what that. There we go. Let me circle back with a lit Psaki of Crappy. Living a sack crappy on an American doorstep. Yeah, she's taking a poop in this picture too. Like, I mean, I'm sorry, she shouldn't have taken a picture while she was pooping. That's on her, you know? They're like, tell us when you're ready. She's like, it's like me. Like, look, don't take a picture of me while I'm freaking singing. Looks like I could be I'm in the middle of something there. You know what I mean? What are we talking about? But Sakia Crappy, she did it. And remember that this started because of an Adam Sandler Happy Gilmore concept. When you're there, you're doing a ding dong ditch-a-roo, you know, with Adam Sandler and his buddies with Norm Macdonald when he was a kid. And they're doing a ding dong ditch at Old Man Withers. But instead of a lit Sakia poop, they're leaving a Sakia Crappy. You remember when you step on that thing, yeah, you could potentially, you're talking Indiana Jones' Last Crusade. You know, you just drink the wrong goblet. Withering foot, starting from the foot, and you got to cut your leg off before it gets to the rest of your body. Sakia Crappy. You also, there's a very good chance that you create plague in the neighborhood, you know, because of the lies and deceit that come out of the bag when you step on it. Again, that's on you, Old Man Withers. You couldn't say, look, when Harriet called out, don't step on it, Bernard. And you were just like, oh, shut up there, woman. And you decided to step on it. That was karma. Because you said your woman said, you shut up, woman. You don't ever talk to a lady that way. That's because you're a bad guy, Mr. Withers. That's because you have no respect for the female. Oh, 2022, there are no females anymore? There is no gender anymore? Okay. All right there. What are we talking about? Phyllis Diller. You know? Jamie Lee Curtis. Fabio. You know? I mean, like, tell me. Would something like, yeah. Sometimes, you know, when you're doing it. Phyllis Diller. Joanne, what are you doing a Phyllis Diller deal for, you know? That's like, you're going old school. Gene Rayburn. I'm doing a Gene Rayburn match 22. We're doing a match 22. You know? We got all kinds of stars out there today. You know? It's just a fun time when we do a match 22. We tried it with Alec Baldwin. It did not go well. Rust. You know, it's just like everywhere he goes, just murders, you know, somebody. Poor guy. Or is it, you know, maybe it's his thing, you know, they're doing the you know, Illuminati. Oh, we have to murder somebody at the Rust set. Okay. You need your initiation? So we're doing initiations? You know. Sometimes when you want people to just be good, you know, and they're doing the work for the devil. I think one of the best quotes ever is that the greatest magic trick ever created in a man is the devil. What is it? That the devil made them believe he didn't exist. Something like that. Like, that dude exists, man. That's a scary dude. That is a scary dude. And I want you guys to know something. Like, I never challenge him. I'm not challenging anybody. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just out here to try to create a platform for us to connect. But you know, it's funny. I said something once. I was like, let's go. Oh, let's take on and like, I said something like random like that. And I was like, my wife was like, whoa, no, don't ever, no. You know, you leave him alone, you know? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to leave him alone. You know, I'm not talking to that dad, you know, like I think that the light that we are working with here has the potential to take on anything, but I'm not going to be specific about it. I'm just going to say that there's a lot of darkness in this world, and we don't come from there. We come from somewhere pure. We come from the infinite. This show is about the infinite. I think just like the infinite possibilities of the moment. I heard a great quote, Darren, when Darren came on here to talk about his books. You know, I think what's interesting is this quote. The quote was that eternity is right in this moment. That's the only eternity that exists, is this very second. And I realized how true that is. And we can never capture it because we're always reaching for something else or holding on to something. Wow, we're 2 hours and 50 minutes in. That is a crux for each and every one of us. Is we're always reaching for the next level, or we are holding on to something we don't want to let go. And we can never be satisfied with this very second, no matter what we have or what we don't have. If you're always striving for something, when you get it, you're never going to be in the right place. You're always going to be reaching for something else. It's never, oh, okay, I got there and now I'm done. It's like, okay, well, what's next? And that eternal reaching for the next thing is always keeping us from this thing, from eternity. We catch ourselves, different times of the day. It's like, oh, it's 2. I can't wait until it's 6. I can't wait until it's 10 o'clock for the show to start. And don't wish away any of your seconds. Try to make something magical out of them, because it's the only thing that we can create within. Everything from yesterday is already either something that was a success or a failure. It doesn't change the second that you're living in. It only does one of two things: either builds confidence or takes it away. But this second is fresh for everybody. If we could figure out how to explore it, figure out how to really embrace it and understand it, and understand that it is the only thing that is. We're here right now at 1:42 in the morning, and that is the only moment that exists. Everything else has been forgotten already. What are we going to do with this very second in order to make it memorable for us? (1,195 days in a row. And we're just getting started. Time is an illusion. It's all happening simultaneously. We're all moving through every timeline. Einstein's existing, Tesla, Jesus. If the story is exactly as written, or whatever is written, what I find is interesting is that every story only tells you one little detail. It doesn't tell you anything about the 24 hours a day that that person or any person spent living. I thought that was, why I came across this, I was thinking about, I saw a very short clip of Jim Morrison. And he's at an airport, and he's like 25, 26 years old. And he's walking, and they ask him a question, like, what's your name? He's like, Jim. And they ask him a question, he kind of smiles at the camera. And I realized he only put out one album. He never realized the success of that album. He went to France and died, I think a couple months after that album was released. And I think he found success, and he was like, oh, cool, I'm going to take a break. And then he died. It's crazy. but people put so much on his talent and his poetry and all the words that came out of the guy. I was thinking to myself how the world built this guy up on one album and on some poetry. You know what I mean? And it's like, and they created such a massive persona out of that movie with Val Kilmer and everything, where all of a sudden the Doors and Jim Morrison's like this, Jim Morrison's like such a massive figure. And no disrespect to Jim Morrison, he's amazing. But he put out one album and they make him seem like a god. And I'm thinking to myself, like, am I living in the freaking Twilight Zone that like we can take one figure who did one thing and died young? Yes, it's very sad. Had a very haunting voice, very nice voice, very cool. Sang, didn't play an instrument. You know what I mean? Like what? I can't. I have a problem when people are like, "Oh, a singer is the greatest of all." I'm like, dude. Anybody can sing into a microphone. Can you sing, play a guitar, kick a freaking drum at the same time, loop it all, create a song live in the moment, make it happen 170 times, and the world doesn't even know you exist? And a guy who's here 40, 50 years ago wrote one album. It's a good album. It's a great album. It's an awesome album. It's a great story too. They did it on 2 months, and like the bass player just started like 2 months earlier, like and picked up the bass and was like ripping it up. It's an awesome story. But it's folklore. It's folklore. And they take one little side of a guy who was probably tortured in his existence. He only lived 27 years. And they tell it like this was this massive giant of a persona when he was a human being who lived an entire life that was not based around success or the public eye and having that type of stardom that they made it seem like he had. He never experienced it the way they made it seem like it, Like, I don't think it was as big until much later, till after he passed. And in general, I just feel like we do a great job of making a huge deal out of one detail instead of knowing more about the freaking subject. And the story of everybody is so much larger than you could fit into a 3 or 4 hour biopic, And I just feel like, I don't know. You can't get one man into one book. I often joke, like even if there was a good writer out there who could, in 72 years, decide to write the Renaissance man story and everything I said, and all the things I tried to teach this world on positivity and love and sharing, I can't imagine anybody would get it right. I don't care how good a writer they are. They wouldn't get me right. Because nobody can get anybody right. Everybody's unique. You could talk about how you saw someone and how they made you feel, but you don't know what's going on in their heart and in their mind. And words tell you one thing. I still firmly believe when that man, if it was one of his messages to say that the way, the truth, the way, and the light, and the one way to the Father is through me. He was saying all of us, the way to the Father is through me. He was telling everybody you need to go within to connect with the Father, not go to a freaking building and pay tithing. Go within. That's what he was saying. I feel like, because that's what I would say. And I feel like we're all pulling from the same spirit, from the same energy, from the same knowledge pool. It's like every person who's come along and said something that made sense, they pulled it from the same exact reservoir. It may come out a little bit different, but it's coming out because it's meant to come out. It's meant to pour out into the universe. And a lot of times they line up with other people in the past who said things very similar because it needs to come up again through another vessel. I just love that I never studied any of this stuff. It's just how I feel in my heart and soul. And I continue to just speak what I feel instead of trying to find it in a book. We are the book. This is the writing of the longest book of all time. Check this.
Most agencies are not built to scale. In fact, when they have 5 or 10 clients, they've already reached capacity.
Energy industry representatives pushed back on a comment from White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki Monday regarding... No, Joanne, I know her name is Psaki. I was joking. I was doing a pithy thing calling her name Psaki because I think she's Psaki of crap. She's a Psaki of crap. No, I know, Joanne, that you supported the Democratic Party last time around. Energy representatives pushed back on a comment from White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki of crap Monday regarding unused oil and gas leases, accusing the Biden administration's spokesperson of misleading Americans with a red herring. Fox News asked Psaki Monday why President Biden won't resume new oil and gas leases on federal lands. She responded that the United States is already producing oil at record numbers, and said there are 9,000 approved drilling permits that are not being used. So the suggestion that we are not allowing companies to drill is inaccurate, she added. I would suggest to you that you ask the oil companies why they're not using those, there's a desire to drill more. That's a dead-on impression of her, by the way, and she's circling back. But industry representatives at CERAWeek Energy Conference, sponsored by S&P Global Monday, Joanne, you know they'd be sponsored by S&P Global, also by Pfizer, said the answer is not as simple as Psaki suggested. The accusation is a complete red herring. What does the red herring have to do with this? This is not a bird reference, you know what I mean? I got a red herring. No, you got a freaking, red-headed, herring. American Exploration and Production Council, this is the AXPC, Joanne, in case you were doing an acronym, you need to write it down. There you go. Just need to write it down. Bradbury also said the Biden administration is required under the law to sell oil and gas leases to federal lands. The fact is that industry is producing a higher level on existing leases on federal lands than in the last 20 years, and these leases take many years to explore, to develop, and produce on, Bradbury added. This represents a fundamental misunderstanding as to how this process works, American Petroleum Institute President and CEO Mike Somers said to Fox Business when asked about the Psaki comment. Once you lease land, there's a whole process that has to happen and you have to go through. First, you have to actually discover whether actually there's oil or gas in that land. That's like a big one. Second of all, you have to get a permit to actually develop that land. The moratorium on leasing certainly adds an additional block of American energy production. Your heat anymore. You're seriously blaring me out with that 987 degrees. What are we talking about over here? Get the foot heater. Got my foot on fire right now. We need to stop the rhetoric that's anti-fossil fuel. And we need some clarity, just in regulatory sense, that this administration is to behold or behind domestic energy production. Because I don't want to read this anymore. They suck. They suck. You shut down our pipeline, and then you just told us 2 years later that you shut down Russia's pipeline because that will hurt Russia. So you shut down our pipeline because it hurts America. Definition's the same. I'm sorry, you can't just pretend because one's for Russia and one's for the US that it means anything different. When you come out and say you're shutting down the Russian pipeline because that hurts Russia, then you hurt America day one, Joe Biden. Day one, intentionally, you sanctioned the United States of America on day one. The first time we'd been energy independent in 53 years, I believe. And you sanctioned America. You sleep sofa. Bumbling Biden. Taking a nap on your Joey futon. Double-decker poops in your triple diaper.
The good thing is you got your Huggies sponsorship out of it. Like, you can't blame a guy for getting a Huggies sponsorship, you know, when he's doing a quadruple double diaper situation on a daily basis. And he's leaving him at the door for the Secret Service. Sleep sofa Joe Biden, bumbling Biden, Joey Futon, Poopy Pants, Triple Diaper Joe. I can't remember who the frig I am. I pooped my pants again just now. I'm sleeping. I'm napping currently, Joe Biden. Just woke up. Nope, sleeping again. Napping. Now awake and back to sleep. Cat napping it. And I'm awake. Back to sleep. Biden announces ban on U.S. imports on Russian oil when he was awake for 13 seconds. And live updates. President sleep sofa poopy pants. Bumbling Biden Joey Futon. Double diaper salesperson at Joe's Sleep Sofa Joe's Wonder Emporium of futons and sleep sofas. He banned oil and gas today. Is what he did. Going to cause soaring domestic gas prices to rise even further. It's a good thing, right, Joanne? Gas prices are going up, guys, even more. And guys, by the way, we only have gas prices that are high because of the war. Gas prices weren't high until the war. Freaking morons. This stupid sack of crap, right? The reason we have inflation and the reason we have higher gas prices, it's because of the war. Is it stupid face? Freaking Pippi Longstocking in the Mo, you're up there lying in everybody's face. I'll circle back to that one. I'm going to circle back. Yeah, you freaking better circle back with your dumb face. You coming out here and telling us that? We know you're full of Saki. You know, she's full of Saki. Like, what are you going to do?
Oh, yeah, the oil prices. Oh, gas prices? Oh, no, they're only high because we have a war right now, guys. Didn't you see there were $2 last week? There were $2.20 last week. I'm Jen Psaki Crappy. Yeah.
Freaking Psaki Crappy. You know, so when we were younger, we'd put a Psaki Crappy on a doorbell sitch, you know what I mean? Doorbell ditch sitch. You light the Psaki Crappy. You run away. Doorbell ditch. Homeowner comes out. Adam Sandler sitting there. What do do? Whoa! Oh, so sorry. I did it. You know what I do? Doing an Adam Sandler. Poop on the toilet. On the right on the front porch. You know, Jen Psaki Crappy. We used to do one. That's what we called it. Everybody's like, "Oh, you want to do a ding dong ditch?" No, I want to do a Jen Psaki Crappy. You do the ding dong ditch. I leave the Psaki Crappy, and when the homeowner steps on the Psaki Crappy that's lit, it comes out with lies as well and deceit. That's what it gets as well. Did you get the Psaki Crappy like deluxe edition where you get the smell and then you got the deceit and the lies to go along with it, where you're like, I cleaned it off, but nope, it still smells like friggin' Psaki. Yeah. That's on you though. That was on you. You guys decided to wrong, and I had to put a Psaki Crappy out there for you, you know. But she shouldn't have been such a problem for us that she became like the punchline back in the day. You know, I remember I was playing with my friend Mickey Ronald. He's a good guy. And Mickey was like, "Hey, you want to play hacky sacky?" I was like, "No. I got a Psaki Crappy for you though." I left it on his front porch. I feel kind of bad because he just like kicked the ball into the field and I had to go get it. Frick, it pissed me off. You're going to make me go get the ball? You know? I'm here. I'm on the field. I got to go run out and grab the ball now? Oh, I ran like a good 5 seconds to get it too. Like it was all the way over there. Get the ball. I came all the way back.
Real cowboys customize and save with Liberty Mutual.
Hey, Tex, can someone else get a turn?
Did you know that you could get paid up to $2,500 to put these new Tesla?
That freaking Mickey, he's getting a Psaki Crappy. I'm sorry, you know, sometimes when you're messing with someone who has a revenge deal, you know what I mean? Like no matter what, I get to be the last one. You hit me in the arm, I'm gonna hit you in the arm. If you're like, okay, we're even, nope, I'm hitting you twice. But wait a second, you hit me. I hit you once, you hit me twice? That's right. You hit me once, I hit back twice. What about turning the other cheek? I hit you in the other cheek. You get one cheek, and when you turn this one, there's another freaking hand ready to come at you. That was what God actually said. God actually said, when someone turns their cheek, you smack the friggin' hell out of it. You leave a mark. The mark of the beast. Sometimes you're there and you've got to leave the mark on someone's face, you know, because they just need it. They turn that cheek. Oh, turn your cheek. Go ahead. I'm ready for you to turn that cheek. You want to play that stupid slap game? Oh, look, no, let me put my face out there. You slap it. Dummies, right? You're going to do a slapperoo. They're doing a slapperoo. It's crazy. Why am I getting sort of feedback over here, Joanne? What are we doing? You know, I'll tell you what, I'm getting sick of Joanne's behavior. Messing with my green screen sitch. Trademark. I forgot I actually trademarked that. That one I brought through a process. I wanted to make sure that nobody started doing bumper stickers and t-shirts, you know. So Sakia Crappy is actually mine, and I'm ready to, you know, finish the deal. Finishing it off. Selling crazy gear on the Renaissance Man show of Sakia Crappy. So you will see those shirts tomorrow. With her stupid face on it. And she's like, oh, gas prices have always been this high. It's Donald Trump's fault. Sakia Crappy, right? What's that, Joanne? No, Joanne. No, we don't want you to fill the Sakia with your crappy. That would be a disgusting thing. You got the corn going. You know? Sometimes you wonder, is she going to really continue that same narrative that, you know, oh, I'll poop in the crappy bag for Saki instead of you having to go to her for it. I wanted to go to Saki Crappy for it, you know. Like I don't want to get the, you know, oh, I got the easy way out. Joanne did it. No, I want the Saki Crappy to do her job. You know, she's coming out not doing her job. She's not being a Saki Crappy. She wants somebody else to fill in. Joanne, of all people, that I need to answer the phone calls, to open up this file cabinet, to close the file cabinet, to wheeze. Okay, I need it. I need the Weezer. Oh, I need the Weezeroo. You know, and you got a Weezeroo, and you're doing it. You know, not much you can say besides another awesome show here on the Renaissance Man program. Day 1195 in a row, my fam and friends. We did it again. We touched on some really great moments. Got into some music, some funny laughing is always good for the soul. What do you guys think about the news stories becoming a movie if I created a nice segue into each one and a newsman thing, you know what I mean? That would be the movie, figure out what it's going to be called. I think that would be fun. I do need to put a new feature out, so Back to the Future Mark, Donald Trump show, or this idea, or we have the community call-in. We have Stuck on Mars. We have so many different starts to movies. We have to get one of them done, don't we? So till tomorrow, fam, when we do it all over again. Thank you for kicking with me this Saturday Night Live. We're 5 days away from 1,200. 5 days away. Hope to see you guys here for day 1,200. And remember, the more people you tell, the more chance we have at doing some real positive work here and affecting change. There's one thing I want to share. There was a story I heard about 2,000 people that were hired to meditate in one city. And they were there to just meditate and put positivity out. And they meditated like all day long, 2,000 people. And the entire city had less crime, less murders, less, you know, domestic disputes. And it was all, nobody had this idea this was going on, but they were around an environment of people that were putting out positivity. And that's why when I heard that, I was like, man, that's why this big tech / evil of the world does not want 1 million people to join me. Because we can really change the world, and they know it. And I don't think I'm special. I just think that I'm holding on to a couple core things that nobody's remembered and they keep forgetting about, like love and sharing and lifting each other up instead of pushing each other down when we're on our way places. These are such simple things to keep in the forefront. Lead with a smile. Give back to those around you. Not monetarily if you can't, but with something, a piece of your energy. Sharing your energy only builds your energy back up. And so I will keep showing up until one day we do have millions of people here together with us in one moment, because then we will change the world. I just hope it's not too late when that happens. I hope we haven't lost everything and we're just trying to remember what we had. And then my words are meaning something a little different. We still have time. I'm just going to have to rely on you to help me get more people here. So do what you can, tell whoever you know. Tomorrow, I'm going to put that song out that we listened to earlier today, the one about sweeping us up. So stay tuned. I got an open house tomorrow. I'm probably going to go live from there, so follow me on TikTok. Telegram, if you have not followed me on Telegram, do that now, because I will shoot you the link to the TikTok. I think I could do that. I'm not sure if I could do that, but definitely follow TikTok. And you can go to my link tree to get all my links. Let me give you this real quick, though. This is our Telegram page. Joining Telegram, what's great about this is I typically will drop a little note in there every time I put anything out, a short piece of content or we go live. So, tomorrow, fam and friends, Yardbirds, S-Coop, Jacqueline Grace, and my brother Cog. Rob, it's so good to see you, buddy. Keep your head up, pal. We're here for you every night. Don't forget that. And I will say one thing to you about love. Every person you ever meet and spend time with, and any person that ever takes some of your heart from you, it's all a learning experience. Every single thing you go through is a learning experience, so you're prepared for that eventual person that you do have the privilege to be with. And it doesn't seem like it now, but the gratitude comes later. So just stay on the road, jam out on that freaking guitar. Hopefully you can get a beat seat so I can have one to build for you. And I have to go buy materials if someone orders another one. I'm actually out of material right now. And the crazy thing is there's so many people that you can have a solid connection with out there. But don't do it until you're ready, okay? Most people, they rush back into life, into relationships, because they feel like they need to forget about what they had, extinguish that memory by replacing it with a new one. That's not the way to keep your soul level. The best thing you could ever do is what you're doing right now. You sit in your room alone. Spending time alone gives you reflection, perspective, and you can get back to what's important to you. You need to connect with self. Once you have the confidence about who you are again, then you can share something with another. You can't until then. So don't do it, because you're not just harming yourself, you're harming another soul. So give yourself time to heal. And remember, alone is a beautiful thing, because you've got so much to offer this world, and you need to remember, you need to kind of connect with it again. So don't rush it. Spend the time alone you need to, and emerge stronger than ever. And hopefully that helps you, my friend. So until tomorrow, I'm in love, Rob, Jacqueline Grace, and S-Coop, and anybody out there that's lurking. It's Mark Pyers. And it's Renaissance Man. I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. You got to go away, yeah, 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 yeah.
Till tomorrow, fam. Till tomorrow.